Kidwell. She passed away recently. She grew up in College Park, went to Holy Redeemer School, and spent many years. She recently passed away at the age of 76. Any other?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, could we remember the victims and the violence that have just been going on around our country? And there's a resident in D4, I'm not going to mention a name, but just remember the family in prayers. He's very sick in the hospital.
Certainly. Seeing none, please join me in a moment of silent meditation. Councilmember Hugh.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. We'll do the roll call, starting with Councilman Hernandez couldn't attend. He has another engagement. Councilmember Hugh.
Present.
Councilmember Jordan.
Present.
Councilmember Simmons.
Present.
Councilmember Ors is also not feeling well. He might join online. And Councilmember Ranker.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Present.
And Councilmember Mitchell also has a family emergency. We'll do the announcement in the same order, starting with Councilmember Hugh.
Yes. Aloha e kumomai. This May is the month of celebrating Asian Pacific Islander heritage. And what I just said was hello and welcome to our meeting. For announcements on, I hope we all can make it and the weather holds up for the Friday Night Live event coming up this Friday at 6:30, right here at City Hall. And on Saturday, this Saturday, May 9th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., there will be a meeting. It will be a walkthrough of the North College Park Hollywood shopping area to do a placemaking walk to learn more about opportunities and vision from residents to participate in creating a space that's welcoming and identifies our part of the city. So I hope you can make it there. We'll be meeting at the Hollywood Farmers Market to start with and end with. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilmember Jordan.
Yes, happy Mother's Day this Sunday to all the mothers in College Park. And congratulations to the College Park resident students who competed with their schools, elementary, middle, and high school, in the 50th annual Math, Engineering, Science, and Achievement competition at the state level this weekend. Students from Paint Branch Elementary, Greenbelt Middle, and Eleanor Roosevelt High School representing Prince George's County, and a District 2 residents team won the state competition and will be heading to the national competition this summer. Nice. Additionally, the Committee for Better Environment has awarded the Boy Scout Troop 740, which meets in District 2, the Green Award for their work in the permaculture garden cleanup in April. The award comes with a monetary prize. Councilmember Hugh and I and Mr. Young and some other staff went to a presentation by Amplify Tutoring earlier today at Hollywood Elementary School to hear about their philosophy of the program and to see how they are able to work with the students there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons.
Pass.
Thank you. I just want to make one announcement. Normally I do not make an announcement, but this is such exciting. It's coming on May 13, Wednesday, not tomorrow, but next week, Wednesday, and starting at 6 o'clock. So we'll be hosting at this council chamber the 21st delegations, the members of 21st delegation, starting with Senator Jim Rosapep and our Madam Speaker, our very own Jocelyn Pena-Melnick, and Delegate Ben Burns and Delegate Mary Lehman. And this will start at 6 o'clock. There will be a virtual option and the flyer will be going out. This will be also an opportunity to celebrate the appointment, or rather election, of our very own, again, Madam Speaker Jocelyn Peña-Melnick. She's our longtime resident, and most importantly, she was also our former city council member. So please come out, and this will be an opportunity for the residents to ask some questions as well, and hear about what happened in the recently, the legislative sessions, everything that happened there, and also what the College Park received as out of that session. So again, the time is 6 o'clock next Wednesday, May 13th, at this council chamber. Thank you. All right, Councilman Ranker.
Wednesday the 13th is going to be a busy day for some in our District 3, because the Calvert Hills Citizens Association also has its previously scheduled meeting, 7 p.m. at the old Parish House. That's on Wednesday, May 13th. So I'd invite folks in the Calvert Hills to come here and be with the 21st delegation, and then head over to the old Parish House at 7 p.m.
Thank
Thanks.
you. And this will be the very first in-person meeting, as I understand. They used to have online meeting always. So it's an exciting thing. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes, thank you. The senior adults are having a meetup where they're going to do plant exchanging, which from 1 to 3 tomorrow at the College Park Woods Clubhouse. So if you're a senior, please go and get a plant. And and I wanted to give a shout out to the Residents Guide. I hope everybody got theirs this week. If you didn't, you should contact the clerk's office or the communications office to get one. It's full of really, really good information, so please read it. So we are going to have in Prince George's County voting in June, which is coming quickly, so please make sure that you're registered to vote, and they are looking for election judges for the primary and for the November election. I did it for many, many years. It's really not hard if you'd like to be involved in the election process. And I'm going to let my student liaisons talk about graduation coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Let's go to our student liaison, starting with Mr. DeSpirito.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yeah, as Mayor Pro Tem Mackey was talking about, graduation's coming up for seniors here at the University of Maryland, and the semester's wrapping up with finals week taking place next week. Hopefully, we all do good. Knock on wood. But yeah, so not much updates on our end. The new city liaison has been selected at this point, and we look forward to working for a smooth transition and helping them carry on initiatives that they want to work with us on. And I'm very excited for the leadership that they will continue to bring in the city. And yeah, that's all for us.
Thank you, and thank you for your help in the selection. And she is Emma Martin, so we'll see her a lot more in the next few, starting from next week, hopefully. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I also don't have any updates for tonight, but just to echo everything Nick has been saying, we definitely want to work towards making sure there's a smooth transition to the next liaison so they can continue doing great work.
Certainly. Thank you. Let's go to our city manager's report, Mr. Young.
Good evening, Mayor and Council and residents of College Park. As Mr. Hugh relayed, we will have our Friday Night Live. We'll start off at 6 p.m. It'll go an extra half hour to 8:30 p.m. Free parking in our downtown garage during the event. We're looking forward to Groovalicious kicking us off. They're a very good band. If you haven't seen them, last year they were at College Park Day and got a lot of great comments about their performance. So come on out and enjoy yourself. The second annual Spring Street Fair in College Park is back on Sunday, May the 17th. From 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. At Davis Hall. We'll have performers, food trucks, you name it. I believe we'll also be having some cooking demonstrations, similar to what we did last year, and should be having a lot of fun activities for folks, a lot of craft vendors as well. So come on out and join us then. And then May 15th is stop by our City Hall for Bike to Work Day. We'll have a station here at 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. here in the front plaza. And look forward to seeing you all there. You can register at www.biketoworkmetrodc.org. And then we're also excited to welcome local illustrator and graphic novelist Gareth Hines for a special event of art and storytelling. And he'll also do a live illustration demonstration on May 21st at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Also, a couple of quick announcements in construction. Due to WSSC's construction work, Edgewood Road will close each night from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. until May 18th between Baltimore Avenue and 47th Place. Please follow the posted detour routes. As a result, the Metrobus M42 will detour via Baltimore Avenue and provide service to Route M44's stops between Greenbelt Road and Cherry Hill beginning at 8 p.m. Additionally, certain residents in Hollywood between Baltimore Avenue and Rhode Island Avenue will experience a water service disruption on Thursday, May the 7th from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. If there are weather or technical problems or disruption to service, it'll be rescheduled for Sunday, May the 10th from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. All of our affected residents were sent notifications from WSSC and are advised to call 301-206-WSSC for any questions regarding this project. The city's contractor is putting in the raised intersections as part of the Ruatan Street sidewalk project in Berwyn. Expect temporary lane closures during our daytime hours and follow the completion of that work. The asphalt work and striping and signage will be installed to convert the roadway to one-way westbound traffic. Additionally, the city's contractor has started installing sidewalk on the 9600 block of Rhode Island Avenue on the East Service Road. Expect temporary detours as the work is completed. And then we have, on May 18th, we'll have our last spring cleanup Saturday, and that will also have a shredding event that will be taking place there, and that'll run from 7:30 a.m. to 12 noon at our Public Works Facility, 9217 51st Avenue. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Lots going on. Any question for Mr. Young? All right. Seeing none, let's do the acknowledgement. We have two former elected officials in the room. District 1 City Council Member Mark Schroeder and also District 2 City Council Member Bob Catlin. Thank you for joining us. All right, we have, now let's go to proclamations and awards. The first is the awards, and this is about the If I Were Mayor, I Would MML essay contest. We will be celebrating the winners of the contest, additional winners, and I will let Ms. Barber to talk about that. Thank you.
Good evening again. We'll call this the encore. We have so many outstanding students to recognize, but we have two very special students here today to recognize. The students who we will recognize today were winners of the contest. We have two students, one of whom was a state semifinalist and another who was a state winner for District 9. The first student that we'll recognize is going to come up with her family to be recognized, and then the second student to be recognized will read their essay. So first up, can we have Alam Fethi?
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm going to take a photo.
We're so glad to have you join us, and family can come up and take a photo, and then a special something up there in Mayor Kabir's seat also for you if you wish.
We'll be going over there. Take my seat.
It's a wonderful, wonderful achievement. There were hundreds and hundreds of essays that had to be reviewed and judged, and it's amazing to be amongst the finalists. So another hand for Aten. And then next up, we have our District 9 winner of the If I Were Mayor essay contest for MML, Nuseba Jamil. And Nuseba will come up and read the winning essay.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I were mayor, I would protect the Kenwood cherry blossoms. People have been celebrating the start of spring by walking through those cherry blossom trees for over 100 years. This tradition brings people from our community to enjoy nature. I imagine Silver Spring 90 years from now, and I see this tradition changing with ideas. In 2016, our cherry trees would be totally protected by technology. There could be tools that help protect the trees from floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes. These tools could stop the trees from getting destroyed. There could even be signs that tell about stories about the cherry blossom trees in the past. For example, we could find a way to bring water to the cherry blossom trees and help them grow healthier and bigger. New ideas would help our community by making our traditions better for the environment. As a mayor, I would make sure that with technologies like flying cars and robots, the heart of the tradition and community never changes. The Kenwood cherry blossoms are a part of that. By mixing our 100-year history with ideas, I can make sure Silver Spring stays a place where tradition meets new ideas for the next 90 years, and the Kenwood cherry blossoms stay a part of it. The Kenwood cherry blossom trees are very important to our community. I would do everything to protect the Kenwood cherry blossom trees.
Thank you. Yes. The family can come.
While the family comes, I don't think I mentioned that these outstanding essayists are both from our own Al Huda School. It's amazing. Thank you all again for recognizing these amazing students.
Thank you, Ms. Barber. Thank you for your help. Appreciate it. Again, congratulations to the students, to the parents, and also to the teachers who actually helped them in writing those essays. Amazing. All right, let's go next to the proclamations. I have quite a few of them, but thankfully they're all not very long, so I don't think it'll take a lot of time. First one is City of College Park Proclamation, Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, May 2026, whereas May is recognized as Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, AANHPI Heritage Month, celebrating the history, culture, and contributions of these diverse communities who represent a significant and growing part of the United States population. And whereas the City of College Park is home to a vibrant AANHPI community whose presence enriches the cultural fabric and diversity of our city. And AANHPI NHPI, individuals have made meaningful contributions across fields including healthcare, science, technology, education, business, arts, and public service, and supporting both our local and national communities, and whereas recognizing and celebrating the diverse histories and experiences of ANHPI communities affirms that our strength as a city lies in our diversity and shared commitment to inclusion. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland, hereby recognize the month of May 2026 as Asian American, Native, Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and encourage all residents to celebrate and honor the contributions and cultures of ANHPI communities. Proclaim this 5th day of May 2026, Fazil Kabir Mayor, City of College Park. The second one is about Building Safety Month, May 2026. It reads as follows: whereas the City of College Park, Maryland recognizes the importance of safe, resilient buildings and infrastructure in protecting residents and supporting everyday life, and whereas building safety is made possible through the work of building and safety officials, engineers, architects, builders, tradespeople, and other professionals who ensure construction meets established safety standards, and whereas Building Safety Month 2026 themed Built to Last promotes awareness of building protection, emphasizing resilient, safe, and sustainable building practices, and whereas Building Safety Month 2026 aims to reinforce the importance of safe, affordable, and resilient buildings while recognizing the ongoing work of building safety professionals in protecting where people live, work, and play. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland, hereby recognize Building Safety Month 2026 and encourage all residents to learn about and support efforts that promote safe and resilient communities. Proclaim this 5th day of May 2026, Fazil Kabir Mayor, City of College Park. Third one is City of College Park Proclamation, Jewish American Heritage Month, May 2026, whereas Jewish American Heritage Month is observed each May to celebrate the history, culture, and contributions of Jewish Americans and to encourage all residents to learn more about Jewish heritage in the United States. And whereas the observance was established nationally in 2006 when President George W. Bush proclaimed May as Jewish American Heritage Month. And whereas the Jewish American community includes more than 7 million people in the United States and has made lasting contributions across government, science, education, business, and the military and the arts. And whereas the City of College Park is proud to recognize and celebrate its Jewish American residents and their continued impact on the strength and diversity of our community, and whereas the month of May provides an opportunity to reflect on and honor the rich history and cultural contributions of Jewish Americans, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland, hereby recognize the month of May as Jewish Heritage Month and encourage all residents to take time to appreciate the contributions of Jewish Americans. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2026 by the Mayor, City of College Park. The next one is City of College Park Proclamations Mental Health Awareness Month, May 2026, and it reads as follows: whereas May is recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month, a time to raise awareness, reduce stigma, and promote mental wellness for all, and whereas mental health is essential to overall health, affecting how individuals think, feel, and function in daily life, and is vital to the strength and resilience of families and communities, and whereas many individuals do not receive the support they need, highlighting the importance of expanding access to care and resources within our communities. And whereas workplaces, schools, and communities all play an important role in supporting mental wellness, encouraging open dialogue, and fostering environments of compassion and understanding, and whereas strengthening access to mental health services, crisis support, and prevention resources help to save healthier and more resilient communities. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland hereby recognize the month of May 2026 as Mental Health Awareness Month and encourage all residents, institutions, and organizations to promote mental wellness, support those experiencing mental health challenges, and work together to reduce the stigma throughout the community. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2026, Federal Mayor, City of College Park, Maryland. The next one is about the National Foster Care Month, May 2026, reads as follows. Whereas May is recognized as National Foster Care Month, a time to raise awareness and honor the individuals and families who support children and youth in foster care, and whereas every child deserves to grow up in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment filled with love, support, and opportunity. And whereas many young people in foster care face barriers to success, with a significant number leaving the system without access to the services and support needed to prepare for adulthood, and whereas foster parents, caregivers, social workers, and community members play a vital role in providing stability, guidance, and hope to children in care, and whereas strong communities are built through a shared commitment to supporting families, preventing child abuse and neglect, and ensuring every child has the opportunity to thrive. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland hereby recognize the month of May 2026 as National Foster Care Month and encourage all residents to support children and families involved in the foster care system to help create safe, loving, and permanent homes for every child. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2026, Federal Mayor, City of College Park, Maryland. Next one is Bike to Work Day, May 2026, whereas National Bike to Work Day observed on May 15, 2026 promotes bicycling as a practical, efficient, sustainable mode of commuting, and whereas traveling by bicycle helps reduce traffic congestion, improve air quality, and conserve energy, while supporting the health and well-being of residents, and whereas Bike to Work Day encourages individuals to incorporate physical activity into their daily routines while reducing the environmental impact, and the City of College Park supports bicycle-friendly initiatives, including safety improvements and community programs that make commuting by bicycle more accessible and safe for all. And whereas Bike to Work Day is part of a broader national effort celebrated during the month of May to recognize the many benefits of bicycling, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland hereby recognize May 15, 2026 as Bike to Work Day and encourage all residents to consider bicycling as a safe, healthy, and sustainable means of commuting. Proclaimed 5th day of May 2026, Fazil Mayor, City of College Park. And I only have 3 more. This one is about the Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and it reads as follows. Whereas Children's Mental Health Awareness Week is observed annually during the first full week of May to increase public awareness and understanding of the importance of children's mental health, and whereas the mental health and well-being of children, youth, and families are vital to the strength, resilience, and the future of the City of College Park and the state of Maryland, and whereas the early identification and timely appropriate intervention can significantly improve outcomes for children, while untreated mental health challenges may negatively impact or affect academic success, relationships, and overall quality of life. And whereas Children's Mental Health Awareness Week serves to reduce the stigma, promote early support, and connect families with essential resources, reinforcing that every child deserves the opportunity to thrive. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland do hereby recognize May 3 to 9, 2026 as Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and call upon all residents, educators, community organizations, and stakeholders to raise awareness and support the mental health and the well-being of children and families throughout our community. Proclaimed 5th day of May 2026 for the Mayor, City of College Park. And the next one is Kids to Parks Day, and reads as follows: whereas May 16, 2026 is the annual Kids to Parks Day, organized and launched by the National Parks Trust, held annually on the 3rd Saturday of May, and whereas Kids to Parks Day empower kids and encourages families to get outdoors and visit America's parks, public lands, and waterways. And whereas the day connects kids and families with their local, state, and national parks and public lands through thousands of parks events that promote discovery and exploration of the great outdoors. And whereas we should encourage children to lead a more active lifestyle to help combat childhood obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and hypercholesterolemia. And whereas Kids to Parks Day recognizes the importance of recreating responsibility while enjoying the benefits of outdoors. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland hereby recognize May 16, 2026 is designated as Kids to Parks Day and encourages families to explore and enjoy our great American parks. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2026 for the Mayor, City of College Park. And the very last one is about the Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas it reads as follows: whereas Professional Municipal Clerks Week is observed May 3rd through May 9th to recognize the essential role of municipal clerks play in local government, and whereas municipal clerks are vital to the effective functioning of local government, ensuring transparency, maintaining official records, supporting elections, and assisting residents and staff with important services. And whereas although much of their work occurs behind the scenes, municipal clerks play a key role in promoting accountability, efficiency, and public trust in government operations. And whereas the City of College Park recognizes and appreciates the dedication and service of its municipal clerks and encourages all residents to acknowledge their important contribution, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Mayor and Council of the City of College Park, Maryland hereby recognize May 3rd through May 9th, 2026 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week. Encourage all residents to value the essential work and dedication and municipal clerks in our community. Proclaimed this 5th day of May 2026, Fazil Kabir Mayor, City of College Park, Maryland. And thank you, our fantastic city clerk, Yvette Allen, for all the hard work she does, and her team. Thank you so much. All right. With all that is done, let's move to the amendments and approval of the agenda. I don't think there is any amendment I have seen. I entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve the agenda as written. Thank you.
Second.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Mackey and seconded by Councilmember Ranker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? The agenda has been approved. Now, this is the time for public comments on consent agenda and non-agenda items. Anyone here to speak on anything that is not on the agenda or on the consent agenda? Mr. Catlin, please come forward. For the record, please state your name.
Thank you, Mr. Kabir, Mayor Kabir, and members of the City Council. Bob Catlin, College Park resident since the late 80s. When I was last here a couple of months ago, I said I would give you some information about how the city came to build a parking garage. It would probably take 3 parts, so tonight I'll be making some progress on that. With the approval of the Terrapin Station commercial strip on the block south of here, without any parking, that caused the city to look very seriously about building the parking garage. That retail strip was supposed to provide 70 parking spaces, but they opted to pay a fee in lieu instead of providing the spaces. Eventually, the county determined that the appropriate price for those 70 spaces was about $1,500 a space. So the city collected about $105,000, even though the cost of a parking garage would be well in excess of $20,000 a space. The city hired a parking consultant. He looked at all of the vacant lots around the downtown area to see if they would fit with the parking garage. We were looking to build a 350-space parking garage. The consultant looked at all the spaces and said they all fail. Then we looked across the street where the parking garage is now. At that time, the city owned a small piece of land there that they operated a parking lot in, but there were 2 rental houses there that took up the vast majority of the property, and those owners didn't want to sell to the city. So eventually we had to use threaten eminent domain. We eventually bought the 2 properties. We paid about $850,000 a piece for them. We paid an amount that was sufficient so that they would have no interest in going to court to fight our payment. We got the properties. Then we had to deal with a lot of things. We had to deal with moving the telephone poles to this side of the street because they were on that side and that did not fit with the parking garage. We had to do environmental cleanup. We had to do stormwater. So that'll be all for this part. The next time I show up, I'll give you the final remarks about how it actually got built. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing those stories. Anyone else wants to speak? Mr. Dorsch, let's come forward. State your name for the record. Thank you.
As you said, my name's Mr. Dorsch, David Dorsch, longtime city resident over half a century, as a matter of fact. As you've heard me mention once or twice, or maybe 10 times before, what do you think it is?
The house.
Hey, I'm glad you remembered. You need to sell the house at 4704 Calvert Road. It should be listed on the vacant and distressed list. What you need to do is separate that house from all the land that's next to it, which is the main reason that the city bought the place in the first place. They don't need the house. They shouldn't be in the housing rental business, and they really need to sell that place, and so somebody can fix it up and get it working again. Thank you.
Thank you. Who is next? Please come forward. State your name for the record. And if you live in College Park.
Hussain Wahid. I work with Advanced Technology Acceleration Work Group, University of Maryland, College Park, and appreciate the update with respect to the STEM competitions that took place and how the schools in College Park fared in it. And I found out there's a lot of development work that's been going on in the university, and students have taken part. They have come up with solutions that can be applied in real life, and a couple of those that came to mind recently was the water leak detection technology, as well as the application for residents directly. And it is low cost, and they have estimated that it saves insurance costs and damage to homes on a large scale. That was one of the prospective projects identified. And there was another one that required monitoring of students, how they learn, and that too is a very cost-effective approach. The third one was how students can continue learning independently with the help of machine learning and AI that can be utilized by students as a pilot, perhaps. And the fourth one was the qubit, the quantum technology awareness, and also the preparation for students to use. Those were the ones that I found out last week, and there are many others, especially the collaboration with Microelectronics Association International for international standards, as well as applications in cities. So that is some of the few ones. And also, it happens to be the Teachers Appreciation Week, which is prominently mentioned in research circles. But I know much of what Teachers Appreciation Week consists of was covered today with respect to the Asian and Jewish months, and also the fact that the essays came up and shared the essays. So the work continues the same way, whether we list it as an appreciation week or not. And I know you mentioned so many of those. There wasn't enough time, perhaps, but thank you.
Thank you so much for coming and speaking. I do not see any virtual hands. Please come forward. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Cindy Robles, and I currently just bought a home on Cherokee Street. I'm a past UMD alumni and was super excited to buy my first home in the community and bring back to the community. So on the first week of closing my home, I've already encountered significant issues with residential parking. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed specifically on that street is that the townhomes are only allocated 4B parking, but the rest of the neighborhood is 4A parking. And we were super excited, me and my fiance, to have a housewarming party, invite friends and family, and really kind of show our new home that we're really excited about, first home purchase. And then we encountered that issue that no one can come because everyone needs to have a permit parking after 7 p.m. Another thing that we've also noticed is that right across the street there is an apartment complex that has a complete parking lot. And as we come home in the evenings, we notice that that side of 4B is completely empty. No one really parks there. So I own and occupy a 5-bedroom home, yet street is really limited to when I came to register parking. I was told that there's only 2 residential permits. We currently have 3 cars for our personal use, and one is that we use. It's a truck, and it does not fit in the garage, and we can't even park our own cars there. One of the things that we really noticed is the clear inconsistency within the same community. As I mentioned, everyone else in the neighborhood, even the townhomes across the street, are also 4A parking. Meanwhile, they also have a garage and a driveway, which we do not. We just have a garage. So really kind of what I'm trying to get here is that it's not really a shortage of parking. It's really the mismatch of how parking is being allocated, where some residents are constrained while capacity elsewhere is really being underutilized. As a homeowner, this is already impacting my ability to reasonably use my property, whether that's accommodating my own vehicles or really hosting basic guests. Really, the goal here for me is that it's not about increasing density or adding more cars to the neighborhood. It's about the fairness, consistency, and just making sure that the city policy really reflects how homes are actually being used. So thank you for the time, and I hope that something can be done about it.
Thank you so much, and welcome to College Park. I'm
Thank
very
you.
sorry to hear the experience.
Thank
Could you please leave your contact with the staff? Maybe Mr. Coker, he's the Director of Public Services who oversees the parking department as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak. Who else? I do not see any virtual hands. Let's go and approve the consent agenda. There is only one consent agenda. Let me read this out, and then I will entertain a motion. This is 26G40, approval of the January 12 and February 3 minutes of the Mayor and Council. Can I entertain a motion, please?
Move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem and seconded by Councilmember Ranker. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any abstention? The consent agenda has been approved. We have 2 presentations, and then we have a public hearing. I'm not sure how many of our guests and residents are in the room for public hearing. If the council wishes, we could probably suspend the rule and bring the public hearing on the budget before the presentation, if that is okay. Okay, can I get a motion on that? Suspend the rule and move.
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? So let's go to the public hearing on the budget. So that brings our Director of Finance, Sean Olive. Thank you. Welcome.
Let me find it on here. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Of course, we're here for the public hearing on 26003, which is an ordinance to adopt the fiscal year 2027 general fund ARPA allocation fund, capital projects fund, and debt services fund budgets of the city of College Park. And I know this is a time to hear from the citizens, so I'm going to be very brief. I'm just going to give a brief overview of what you've already seen multiple times, but maybe this will help anybody that wants to speak today be refreshed on what's going on. Of course, right now in general fund revenues, we have an estimated $31.5 million is what we have budgeted for revenue for the fiscal year 2027. And next on general fund expenditures, we are looking at $32.4 million of expenditures for the general fund, and which, as you can tell, is an excess over the revenue. So in using $869,000 of fund balance to bring that back in line with the revenues, so we do not have a deficit budget. Next on capital projects fund is with a beginning balance of $9.7 million and expenditures of $7.7 for the year of capital projects throughout the city, and that will leave us with a $4.7 million fund balance within the capital projects fund. Next are just your highlights of new positions, which we've talked about several times. Of course, it's 4 full-time and 1 part-time employees that would be added, and then the highlights of the different projects and additions to the budget that was included in the last meeting. And that's just a brief overcap, and if you have any questions of me, I'll be glad to answer those. Otherwise, I'll get out of the way of the citizens and let them talk.
Thank you. Any question for Mr. Olive? I know we had many discussions. Thank you. Thank you so much for putting together the budget and for your work. Let's open the floor. If you are here to speak on the budget, this is the time to come forward. You have 3 full minutes. I do not see any virtual hands, and thank you all who wrote to us. We got a couple of comments. Is there anyone who wants to speak on the budget? Mr. Schroeder, let's come forward.
For the record, Mark Schroeder, 4909 Muskogee Street. I appeared before the council previously on my own behalf asking for an increase in the size of the Complete Streets budget. I subsequently sent a letter to the council on behalf of the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee asking for an increase in the Complete Streets budget. I am unable to determine from the matter in your agenda whether there has been an increase, a decrease, or no change in the Complete Streets budget. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Thank you. This is in the CIP. We can definitely get back to you with the allocation, certainly. Thank you. Anyone else wants to speak on the budget? Seeing none, I declare that the public hearing on the budget has been held. All right. Now we can go back to the presentations, and there are 2 of them. The first one is about the rules and procedures of the mayor and council of the City Council of College Park, and this will be taken by our Assistant City Manager, Ms. Laura Reams. Thank you for your work. I know there's lots of back and forth and lots of editing. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Let me just get my slides up.
So one of our colleagues just stepped out. Should he be waiting?
Yes, we should. So we need a quorum.
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
We're not taking action.
We're not taking action, so
right,
we can
so
continue.
It's okay, because
okay.
tonight's just
Ms.
a
Reams,
presentation.
Please go ahead.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
will go ahead. So about a month ago, I was before this body with the first version, or the first of the versions that you saw, because we went through many versions of the council rules of procedure. We went through that document quite extensively. I received a lot of great feedback from the council as well as staff, and we have made some finalized changes, which I'm going to run through tonight. And I've got 2 specific points of feedback that we're looking for tonight. So just a recap of why we're doing this. I think really important just to remind ourselves of our goals. So we want to improve clarity, usability of the rules. We want to make sure we're aligned with current council practices as well as municipal best practices, and really ensure that our rules support efficient and transparent council meetings by giving clear guidance to staff, council, and residents. So we'll move on. So looking at the key updates that we have before you tonight, we talked a lot about public comment during our last meeting, and so we've made some changes to that section. Oral comments have been consolidated into one section at the beginning of the meeting. We feel that this will make it easier for individuals who are coming to the meeting to understand the meeting process and be able to participate. We will be accepting comments on all agenda items as well as non-agenda items. We added public comment to work sessions. We don't feel like the public should have to distinguish whether they're at a work session or a council meeting. We should just be consistent across the board. The public hearing comment that we just ran through, that process that we just ran through, has remained unchanged. Comments will be accepted on amendments for public hearing items at the council's discretion. And written comments, we clarified that those would reflect written submissions on any topic. I think right now they have to be specific to a topic on the agenda. That actually is not the practice that we follow, so we just clarified in the rules that written comments can be accepted on any topic. As we discussed at the last meeting, we've also consolidated council comments and announcements to the beginning of regular meetings, and we added those to work sessions as well. We removed the requirement to extend the meeting specifically by motion at 10:30 p.m. and again at 11 p.m. We made sure that our council attendance requirements aligned with our charter, and then we removed those strict time limits that we had in there for presentations and discussion in favor of making sure that we remind folks to be mindful of time. So tonight we're looking specifically for direction on 2 items. So consensus on the public comment changes. So we've kind of walked you through those. I'm happy to go through them in more depth after this presentation if needed. But we're specifically looking for any feedback that we have or any consensus that we can come to on the public comment changes. Staff has put their recommendations in the document that is before you. And then we had another item come up, which is the addition of a special session. A special session is something that this council has utilized previously before. It was in the 2022 rules of procedure. And what this does is this allows for time-sensitive action to occur at work sessions. So it's something that would typically be used as an exception, not the rule all the time, but it allows this body to be flexible and respond to time-sensitive items, things like legislation, and be able to take action during a work session. So I've got some draft language in front of you, and what this says is basically that you would enter into a special session during a work session through a majority vote of the council members present, and it's provided that we fulfill the requirements of the Open Meeting Act, which means that our posted agenda for the work session would identify the potential for council action, as well as what the potential action is to be on. And then any action taken would be specifically limited to those items identified in that agenda. What's next? So we'll get additional council feedback from you tonight. That feedback will be incorporated into what we hope is the final draft. That final draft will go to our city attorney for a final legal review. We'll also be developing a quick reference guide for council to have at the dais, just to make it easy for you to use on a meeting by meeting basis. And then we're hoping to bring this back for formal consideration tentatively on May 19th. With that, I appreciate everyone's time, and as I said, I appreciate everyone's feedback. It's been very helpful. I'm going to sit down so I can have my notes in front of me, and then I'm more than happy to take any questions, and I look forward to this body's feedback.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know how many revisions you actually went through. It's a lot of work. Appreciate your hard work. Any comments on the 2 new proposals? One is about consolidating all the public comments, and the second one is the special session during work session. Well, to me, this makes sense completely. Any comments? Councilmember Jordan?
Yes.
I should be saying actually here, right?
But you did recognize me. Regarding the special session, I am in favor of that for very time-sensitive issues like legislation, but I would like, whether it's in the rules themselves or just something that's understood, I would like it to be a rare exception. That I'm very much in favor of the way that we've been doing it, where the work sessions are very targeted. We can concentrate on all the minutia of things and really hammer things out in a way that I think is colored if there has to be an action taken that same night. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there is a language, it talks about time-sensitive items only, so that's been reflected. Thank you. Next is Ray Ranker, Councilman Ranker. What did you do? That's okay, we know.
Well, no, that doesn't work. We'll go to Alan first.
Councilman Hill?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
You don't go
New
out of my-
system, don't touch. Right.
Okay.
As for comments from the audience, if there are ways that we could do it in a little more orderly fashion, in the sense that a resident may have comments on, consent agenda item or on action items, and we may have multiple action items or consent agenda items. If we can bring any kind of order to it, if anybody has any comments on the consent agenda items, speak now, and then any comments on the action items, speak. So we can keep all the action items in particular together, the comments together, instead of being scattered across all the comments that everybody makes. So we can kind of keep it together. Otherwise, when it's scattered, it might be challenging for us to follow, keep all the comments together. And then general, just whatever general comments they want to make, because that way I think it keeps us more in line on the agenda and the comments going with them.
If I may,
Please.
I do understand where you're coming from, but I think taking it from another perspective, the public participation perspective, I think that is, it's almost creating a barrier for individuals who may have never attended a council meeting before. This might be their first council meeting, to be like, okay, wait, where am I on the agenda? What's a consent item versus an action item? Whereas, at our very heart, we want people to participate in these meetings. We want them to come. And so I think the easier that we can make it for them to jump in and participate where they can is the goal that we should be shooting towards, from my perspective.
Yeah.
And then on the other one about the work session, special sessions, that's, there'll be times where we need to obviously go to special sessions because
especially during the legislative session.
Yeah.
We needed that.
So
We used to have it, I think, when you used to be council member, if you recall, we used to have that. Okay, thank you. Now, Mr. Ranker.
I approve of both of the potential changes included here that you wanted feedback on.
Thank you. All right. Do you see? Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
I also approve. Thank you.
Thank you. Please go ahead. Councilor Simmons.
I agree as well.
All right. I think all are in agreement. Thank you so much. That makes your life easy.
One second comment. I just recalled about. Can you review with me the expectations for when it comes to presentations about presentations from interns? Because if they're just doing a job, an internship that just helps them with their educational endeavors and requirements, that's one thing. But I had an intern who was working on doing a presentation for mayor and council on a particular item of public safety, and it became a question of whether or not it would be advisable to have an intern make a presentation. with these current guidelines. So if you could review that for me and see if we can modify that.
Thank you for that. The current rules do not address that specific situation. I think under our current guidelines, the way that it could be handled is that's brought forward as a potential future agenda item, and handled that way. That would work under our existing framework.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You can submit a new agenda item request.
And if I could, a lot of that drew out of the conversation that the council had during your administrative session. And you asked us to look for alternative ways for those presentations to be made rather than those be made here at council. And so that's why you saw the reaction that I had to your concern.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Jordan.
I think in regards to that, I think that the guiding principle should be what is to the benefit of the mayor and council and the city of College Park, not what is of benefit to the student, and that should inform whether it would be appropriate for the student to present or not.
Yeah, thank you. I think when one of us submit a request for a new agenda item, those are the criteria we follow through. So it's already in the book. All right. Seeing none, thank you, Ms. Reams, again for your work. So the next action is that we should be receiving the final draft and we'll be approving it. Before we go to the next presentation, I want to recognize the former District 3 City Councilwoman, Stephanie Stalik, for joining us. Thank you for joining. All right, let's go to the next presentation. This is about the automated safety efforts supporting pedestrians and cyclists, and this will be taken by our Deputy City Manager, Ms. Hespeth.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. I actually have I've got two, so hold on one second. I just want to make sure I get both of them open. Okay, let's see. ADU. Enforcement. Yes, there it goes. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Let me get that open. Yes, I don't want to have a... Goodness gracious, I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, thank you. So thank you for the opportunity, Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth, Deputy City Manager for the record. Tonight we're going to do a brief presentation on the Public Services Department and our automated traffic enforcement supporting pedestrians and cyclists. We really think of these programs, oh, sorry, didn't know this was open on the bottom, as programs that are here to support our pedestrians and cyclists. So we first wanted to talk about the stop sign monitoring program. It began citywide in September. Traffic studies were conducted in September of 2024. We looked at 9 key intersections of concern, but we ended up working with BPAC to consolidate those down to 5. Edgewood Road, eastbound at 52nd Place, Rhode Island Avenue, southbound, and Lakeland Road, College Avenue, westbound at Yale Avenue, which is around the corner, District 3, Calvert Road, westbound at Rhode Island Avenue, and St. Andrews Place, westbound at Davidson Street. I know there's been a lot of concern about the about the stop sign camera. There's so much enforcement. Stop sign camera monitoring program. I've included a copy of a report from ABIO over the last month in your packets. We also wanted to show a copy, show what a mounted pole looks like with a wrap, because we're going to look at some beautification of these. But just to kind of give you again the timeline, we began. We went operational with a warning period in February. We began the program the first day I started, which was March 16th, 2026. And then we are marking our 1-month evaluation period on April 16th, 2026. This is very small, but this shows the breakdown for each one of the traffic intersections. We've given you guys that information in a little bigger format. But the initial month, what we found was that some of that we were getting a lot of rejected. We were getting a lot of rejections from our from the officers. So This is always monitored directly by an officer. Every single violation is looked at by the officers. For the overall program, in March, we found that 3,900 of them were rejected. And after that, we decided that we would look at why are the rejections so high? And we ended up looking at the format and the speed that people were going, because I think the one interesting part about stop sign cameras is that you kind of think of it that you have to stop. You got to go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That's what I do because I don't want to get a ticket. But it's really the fact that the wheels must stop. It can be like 1 second, but as long as the wheels stop, you have been able to stop. So we have looked at the speed in which vehicles go through to that stop, and that's why we were able to eliminate some of the citations. And as a public safety wise, the reason why that's really important is that the lower the speed, the less fatal, the less injuries to our residents and to pedestrians. So at a speed of 3 or 4 miles per hour, you're less likely to have a severe injury. And that's what we want to do, is to reduce injuries of our residents and our students here. So these are the other locations which we've provided. I'm sorry, this is so blurry on the big screen. And then to, again, show the first 30 days of activity. As you can see, where staff saw this problem is in early April. We started to see it in late March, early April, that we were seeing kind of a spike in the rejection numbers. And we met with the vendor, and then we fixed the algorithm. And as you can see, that has helped to reduce the number of violations that are actually going to go through. Avio classifies violations as high, medium, and low. Officers are using their discretion to review process, and that was what really kind of helped us to understand it, is that the Prince George's County police officers that actually look at every one of these were able to kind of give us more information when they saw violations, why they were rejecting them, and why we needed to be, if they were on the street, would they have given out a ticket? And they're going to use that same that judgment as we move forward. We made those adjustments, and I wanted to kind of talk about the repeat violator logic that is in part of this. I think people will say, hey, I got several tickets every day. Well, that's actually not possible, because we have a waiver. So from your first ticket, you have 10 days that you would receive another ticket, and then 3 days after that for each subsequent ticket, until you've been like a really repeat offender. Then you would start to get more tickets. But in the first 30 days of this program, it wouldn't be possible to get more than like 4 to 5 tickets, because of the frequency of the first 10 days, then 3, and then 3, and then 3. So the next set, I wanted to stop to see if anybody had any questions about the stop sign monitor program first, before I go into the next one.
Any question? Mr. Ranker? I see, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Ranker, and then Mr. Hugh, and then Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'm just curious about, have we saw a significant adjustment in behavior from the period where the stop sign cameras went up to the point where we started charging for tickets, issuing citations? Was that warning period data something that took heed on the residents, and they adjusted their behavior once the tickets went in?
Yeah, I think the warning period was a lot more, and then what we actually, and Mr. Let Lieutenant Tenor ask a little bit more about the warning period versus the actual activation period.
Yeah, sure. I do believe that after we met with the vendor and the police officers who were doing it, so basically there is a low level and medium level and high level, categories. I think originally when they designed it, it was like anything less than 5 miles speed. That was low level. Between 5 to 12, it was medium, and above 12 was high risk behavior. So, like, we all sat together and we asked the police officer, what is your criteria? And 2 or 3 of them just said that, Jitender, if we are looking at a particular instance, and if I won't give this person a ticket if I'm sitting my car parked right next to it, then I'm just not going to do by seeing the video. And I think they also have the capability as an AI tool. They can capture the speed from where they enter the imaginary box. If they are within that box, then that's how they decide, it's just one criteria. And then whether other surrounding, like traffic, pedestrians, bikers who are there, that also played in the judgment of the police officer.
And Councilman, just to kind of more specifically answer your question in regards to the warning period, to the start period, to the current period. So looking at the very top, the very first bar at 12/16, we had about 12,000 violations, and now at 4/27, we were at less than 6,000. So you did see a change in behavior from the warning period to the 1 month in. So you can see it starts to go. So that the first few weeks before we actually made them live, the month before we made them live, you can see that trend downwards, and then you can also see an adjustment based on the violation adjustment, the time, the speed that we made. So you can really see that is trending downwards. And then you can also see the number of high level violations has decreased significantly. It's almost like less than a third, and I wish that tonight the only thing I was trying to get for you are the videos so that you could see what a high, medium, and low, and those are proprietary to Obvio, but they are willing to come back to one of our other sessions and make that presentation, because last night when we had the public safety presentation, we were able to show what that actually looks like, and you would be shocked about high, and the high even at like 15 miles per hour when somebody's going through a stop sign versus 3 or 4 miles per hour. It's very drastic, and you're thinking that somebody's going like 50, but it's like they're just like psh, right through it. So that's where you can see it, and I thought this trend violation probably would help so that you can see that this is from Obvio and some additional data that we were able to provide, and that's part of that we made part of the packets.
Thank you.
And a follow-up question is, so we are only limited to 5 of these cameras in the city, or can we have more?
There are currently 5 that were approved by the BIPAC, and what we can do is that if there is a desire from the council and there's a desire to bring them back to that group, we can go back and mix, and because there were a total of 9 that were initially recommended. We can go back to them and ask them to look at those intersections or additional intersections as the council would deem appropriate.
They need to be approved by the county as well, I believe.
Yes, we would have to submit, but because I think we originally submitted the 9 to the county.
Yeah, I think the finalization has to be done at the city level, and our advisory boards that the council feels that they need to do, and then it goes to the county council,
yeah.
And then they do their approval, and then we get with the vendor and get it going. So.
And final question was, if we start seeing compliance and we're getting really good results, would we remove that camera and relocate it, or would we just continue using it? What's the plan when we get compliance?
I think that's where we'd like to, since this, and Mr. Young has also stressed that this is a pilot program in the county, and that we want to, that's why we're here, is to get council input and impact on this, and that we think that it would probably make sense to continue to move this throughout the community in different places of need, as it, and at the same time, once you've seen some compliance, we don't want to just continue just to hammer one area all the time. We'd like to see compliance, and we'd like to actually see this as a working model throughout the city. And at the same time, once we see enough compliance, maybe that some of them can be terminated.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think vendors said in the other cities they actually took some of the cameras out.
Yeah, they switch them around. Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to mention that the contract that we have with Obvio has provision for that.
Oh, good. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes. My question is, you said that after the initial period, you met with the vendor and worked on the algorithm. What exactly was done to the algorithm?
So the algorithm was changed slightly so that the speed that triggered a violation was changed, and it was changed by less than a mile, and that made a huge difference in the number of citations that were where our officers were looking at them and saying, I can kind of see a stutter. It's kind of like a stutter stop, they call it, that someone stops but it's like boom, boom, and they go. That, what the judgment of the officers was more that is something that if there was somebody there, they could stop their car. They're taking the initiative to stop, and those were the ones that we saw most likely that they were denying. And that's where we sort of made that call, and once you got to a certain speed, it actually, I mean, the AI is so smart that it can actually, it kind of it showed us like different ranges, and now we see the range, the speed as people are going through. That wasn't initially available to us in the first month. And so we asked questions. We were like, why are there so many rejections? And that's how we got there.
Okay. So a follow-up question. So if people received a ticket before that, could they?
Well, they didn't receive a ticket. That was the issue. We noticed that there were 3,000 tickets that of the amount that never got to people that were just rejected. And I'm saying what's going on with that, because we paid per ticket for processing. So me looking at it, me and the staff, we looked at it saying, we're not going to pay for a processing of a ticket that's being rejected, and we're spending time for someone to look at it, reject it, and do all that. And I'm like, because we have a cost neutrality clause, thanks to our our city attorney, and that wasn't cost neutral. So we just looked at it from the standpoint, why do we have 3,000 of 7,000 violations being rejected? People weren't getting tickets, but because the officers were looking at them, because there's the human factor, and that's why we ended up looking at the reason why these were being generated in the first place.
Okay. And you said that you were going to bring like information on the
yes,
about pedestrians.
So yes, I have them.
Will that come later?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I can answer those questions at the end of I think we have the issue of like fatality. Injury versus fatality at certain speeds, and I have that for you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilman Ranka?
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing this before us. I mean, I know I've heard a lot of folks who both complain about the driving and the dangerous running through stop signs. Then I have folks, of course, nobody wants to get a ticket themselves. I guess a couple questions. One is, do our practices seem to be consistent with neighboring jurisdictions' practices?
Yeah, I would say they are, because Avio has worked with several neighboring jurisdictions. We talked to them about, and I think the correction that we end up making in regards to our algorithm was pretty consistent with other ones. But Jatendra, would you like to speak?
Yeah, I think Berwyn Heights, even one or two places like even in Montgomery County, and even within there are other smaller jurisdictions that have the same stop sign program that we have talked to them. Because I think we wanted regionally we wanted to be consistent and making sure that we are doing that. Like all the offices, like they have they could also follow like zero tolerance policy. Zero tolerance means whatever the AI gave them, they have to issue the ticket, and they could choose that. But they were rejecting a lot of that. And when we kind of met with them, as the deputy city manager said, like. After the discussion, we dropped those 3,000 citations which were there, because officers felt that, this is not fair. And we are also kind of listening to the feedback that we are getting from the community as well as council members and other stakeholders in the city.
No, I appreciate that. A part of District 3 is right next to Berwyn Heights, and many are complaining about the zero tolerance policy in Berwyn Heights. So it seems like we're even a little more lenient.
I'd say that the county officers are a lot more. I think they're more critical, and they're looking at. I actually learned a lot about looking at this stuff. Even though I had worked in a city where where the officers looked at it, I learned a lot more just by like kind of watching their process and, you know, kind of I'm trying to understand it myself. But I'd say the county officers are doing like due diligence and scrutiny on these tickets. And then I also would say the one thing I would say that we are consistent in is in some ways trying to find areas that are critical to pedestrian safety. Like when you ask, like, how do we compare? I think that by using a group like BPAC to kind of say these are high priority intersections and looking at the fact that College Park has lots of traffic calming. I think you guys do a really good job at traffic calming. This is an add-on and a bonus to it. They're not contradictory. I think there are ways that we're basically kind of layering safety for our residents. And I think that's how a good way to look at it.
Great, thank you. And one more question here. From the data here, for instance, it says events detected, let's just say in March 2026. This is on page 96 in the packet.
Thank you. I'll go back to that one.
The overall summary. It says, 20,010 high events detected, but only 3,296 resulted in a violation forward. I'm kind of wondering, why so many high events would not have, or maybe that was just because it was within the
that wasn't
probationary.
within the probationary
Gotcha.
period. So you had that high number. So when you go back to the other one, let me just go back to this one here. You can see that on this violation trends one, you had a lot more high-level events happening in those first and during that trial period. As far as
Well, I guess my question was just why the difference between how many events there were and such a low number of violations.
Yeah.
And so probably then that's not the case. I mean, we're not voiding people who are going 20 miles an hour through a stop sign.
No, I mean, there were a couple people where, again, we had that stutter stop where literally somebody was going faster. They slowed down, stopped, but that's not the majority of them. They were the ones within a 3 to 5 mile range.
And I just want to say too, I mean, when it comes to when we do traffic studies to see speed on roads and stuff, perception is sometimes very different from what the reality is in terms of the, people think they're going 1 mile an hour through, but that's slower than somebody's walking, typically, so I appreciate having some hard data on these things.
Yeah, all the videos look really fast to me when I'm looking at them, and then sometimes the people are going like 5 miles an hour, and then I see it and I'm like, wait, that person was going like 6 miles an hour? That looks super fast. And then somebody's going like 15 or 20, and you're like, oh yeah, that's really fast, but it's really hard to see it. And when you're, because you're right, it's just kind of a second. You get a 20, like a 5-second video clips of somebody going through. So,
Thank
sorry.
you. Let's go to Councilor Simmons.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this presentation. This is really useful information. I do have a handful of questions. I'll try and keep them brief, but I think the first one is something that we've heard from some of our District 2 residents' concerns, particularly about surveillance, and I will admit that as a student of literature in a past life, this is something that I'm very sensitive to. As an urban planner, I'm more predisposed to design solutions over enforcement. So I'm really curious, how are we responding to resident concerns regarding surveillance?
So I know that because of the level of privacy on this data, that's part of why I couldn't show you information about something until it was scrubbed so that we couldn't see people's tags and things like that. So there's several levels of security on the data that we are collecting with Abio, and we do not, so from the standpoint of us sharing it with the police or things like that, it's shared, but let me let you talk a little bit more.
Sure. I think if I understand your question, it's related with privacy, concerns. So we are just taking the picture of the license plate, and the way the angles of all these locations are adjusted, that we are not capturing any other, private information. Even the police officer, he doesn't know when they are looking at it, and they make the judgment based on and they are not, information is not even retained either. So those were the feedback that we have gotten previously, when we took it to pedestrian committee, as well as some of the town hall meetings where we kind of did the presentation with the vendor. So I do not believe that there is any privacy, concern that should be there at this point of time.
And I think, Councilwoman, we also, last night when we were at the public safety meeting, Avio made a comment about the angle of the camera, so that we're not including other people's houses or things so it's really just focusing on that vehicle going through that intersection, so you don't see other cars that are parked and things like that as part of the angle. I mean, if something were to occur, like you had, an accident, or you had something that would occur during one of those periods, we do have footage of it for, if we needed that for, for public safety issues. So there is that happens. So if there was an accident to occur at that intersection, it would, I hate to say film or tape, but it would record that incident.
Okay, this actually I was going to ask a follow-up, but I think it's mostly been answered. So it's not really capturing like nearby homes, pedestrians,
none of that.
bicyclists. It's just capturing a vehicle
unless
somehow.
Unless the cyclist goes right through that, but it's like most of the time when you see them, they're just going. People are going right through it because they're not stopping either.
Okay.
That was a complaint that we had.
Okay. This leads into a little bit of a more technical question that I had. I heard you say earlier that the videos are proprietary to Obvio. I'm really curious about the intersection with MPIA. Like, are those videos subject to the Maryland Public Information Act, or somehow they're not covered?
I will let our attorney answer that, but I would believe they might be.
I'm going to say we haven't received a request, but if you do an analogy between this footage and sort of body-worn camera and red light camera, there are requirements that have to be met as to who can get the information, but it starts with, would this video be considered a public record? And I think it might be, but I would have to, because in certain statutes, they are very specific. I don't recall in the stop sign ordinance whether they addressed it, but I need to go back and review it. But I would say that if it falls within the definition of a public record, it would be subject to the Maryland Public Information Act.
I would be really interested to understand a little bit more about that. It seems like it would have pretty significant implications for records retention and whether it can be considered proprietary or not. I don't know.
Well, they would. I think part of our agreement, Stephanie, is that aren't they required to be able to provide that information to the city on demand?
Into
That's
perpetuity.
Part of, even if we needed to fulfill that records request.
Yes, I think there's a clause that says that they would have to comply with Maryland Public Information Act requirements.
So they'd have to provide it, so we're not, they would be the data holder.
Okay, great, thank you. I have two more questions, but I'm going to cut it down to one. Okay. Could you give us a little bit of information on the process for appeals? I saw in a response to a council member question earlier that all of these are able to be appealed.
Yeah, that is correct. I think the way the process works is that video link is sent to the person who kind of violated, and then they have to fill out a form. They get a form. Either they appeal it or they pay the fine to avoid the court appearance. It's just treated the same way as if any speed enforcement ticket would be. The process is the same.
So just to make sure they are able just to fill out a form and then someone reviews that. Okay, excellent. That's great to know. I know some of the speed cameras you have to show up in court, which can be very prohibitive for folks who aren't able to get out of
I believe
their jobs.
Yeah, I think that's the extent of it. Like the police officer, if they catch someone like somebody speeding by, they will put a check mark there. Or for this offense, you have to appear in the court. But then in majority of the cases, they can appeal it.
Okay. I know that I'm not the body, but I'm in favor of broad appeals, ability to appeal broadly just for equity purposes. So thank you.
Thank you. Before I go to Councilor Hugh, I have a question. I haven't
Yes.
asked question. The low, high, and medium types of violation, and I think yesterday's public safety meeting, Avio was telling these are defined by the speed the
Yes.
vehicle is crossing the intersection, or rather the sign.
Yes,
Is that correct?
that is correct. It's the speed in which they cross over that white line.
So the low one, say they're crossing from 0 to, I don't know, is it 3?
0 to like 5.
5 miles, say for example 5 miles.
0 to 4.
Yep. From the design point of view, when originally started, I said like 0 to 5, low level,
Okay.
5 through 12, medium, and then above 12, like high risk.
So if someone is crossing even 1 mile per hour at the stop sign, they will be getting the ticket?
That's a low-level case. And as we said, like in our coordination, collaboration meeting with all the stakeholders involved, we are only trying to focus on high-risk cases. And in what you are saying won't be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that we're right now. It's not 0 to 4. It's like right now it was like 2 to 4. So like if you're doing 1 or 2 miles per, it's like, I think we've upped it to 3 or 3.5 or 4 miles per hour in the newer ones. That's why you see low is so much smaller, because it is getting it kind of compacted. If that makes sense.
So
Yeah, I think 4 is what they had decided.
4 is the floor, correct? Yeah, 4 is the floor.
So if someone is crossing without stopping 0 to 4, that person might not be getting a ticket.
May not,
May
correct.
not, okay.
Yeah, that's stutter stop-ish type people, yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's very helpful. Councilor Hugh, second bite.
Yes, thank you. Just a real quick question. It's just whether or not these tickets end up on your driving record, as in points or anything like that.
I believe there are no points for these tickets. They're not the same as an officer-issued ticket because they're automated. That's part of the automated enforcement. That's what the laws mean, that they're not they don't go points on your license, and your insurance rates don't go up, which is, but there are consequences to not paying them after a certain amount of time. So you could do an MVA hold if someone has several tickets that are owed to the city. You haven't gotten there yet, but that's the only penalty, is that you would be able to hold you could hold their renewals.
Very similar to speed camera.
Correct.
Violations. No tickets. Thank you.
Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey did ask for some stats, and I don't know if I should do them before we go stop. Did you want me to present those stats to you? Okay, or I can provide you all copies. What I did is I kind of put together a graphic. I didn't put it up on here because I had come up because we were trying to find it from Avio, but at 16 miles or less, it's a 10% chance of severe injury. It's not on the thing, and I'll send this to everyone, and I'll put it as part of the record. At 23 miles or less, it's a 25% chance of severe injury for a pedestrian if they're struck. At 31 miles, that increases to 50. At 39 miles, it increases to 75%. And at 46 miles, it's 90% chance of severe injury or death. So we talk about the 16. It's if someone gets hit at 16, they're going to get hurt. And at the high end, and especially the bulk of them probably are between 16 and 30 miles per hour when you see people just kind of flying through that stop sign.
Yes,
So I just wanted that was a question that came up last night, and we just wanted to make sure we answered it.
Thank you. If you could please share that information with the council.
And I'll share it as part of the slide.
Thank you.
Yes.
If Councilor Jordan.
So as this is a pilot program, what are the metrics that we are going to be using as to whether the program is successful? And then once that's determined, what then would be the next steps once that's happened? So moving the camera is one that you spoke of, but expanding the program, at what point would we decide to move in one or which direction? And then a follow-up is that as this is having a clause to be budget neutral, when compliance has increased enough that we're not receiving very much revenue from fines anymore, at what point, at which point that might no longer cover the cost of the machines and their use, then what would we do then?
Yeah, Councilmember Jordan, I think we are looking basically, direction and feedback from you all. I think as far as we are concerned, as we go through the process, people will learn, what is a risky behavior versus a non-risky behavior, and these things will drop down. But again, I think we are looking at guidance from you all, we can switch off one location, if we think compliance have been achieved, or try to work towards if there are other feedback that you all are getting from your stakeholders, residents or businesses out there, and then it's a new one than these 5, then we can follow the process to bring those and get the installation there after we have gotten through the approval process through the council as well as the county council.
Thank you. I am encouraged by the violations graph and how many fewer of each of the speeding violations there are, high, middle, and low. And so I'm pleased with that. I would defer to my colleagues, but at this time I'm happy to still be doing the pilot program at this point with the potential for moving those around as needed, as opposed to, I'm not in a position where I would want to expand at this point.
In some of the, the information that we got from, our vendor last night in the public safety meeting, there are certain locations where the graph is already reducing. I think in one of the locations it was 17%, which were, from the city. A lot of people who are getting these, they are also from outside the city as well. So we are keeping track of that data as well.
So I think that what Jitender's talking about is that we were able to show a resident versus non-resident graph for you of who's getting violations. And I know this is small, and I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to make it as big as I can. But the, let me see if I can.
Yeah, this one,
make it a little bigger.
Yep.
There's better. From the standpoint of where are the citations coming from, College Park is about 17%. Silver Springs, so you can kind of see the percentage of residents versus non-residents who are being ticketed, and that 44% represents people possibly out of state of Maryland, which are, but the rest of them are within Maryland and DC. And I'm sorry, let me see if I can bring that up a little bit so you can see a little better. But I think that was another question that we got, like how are residents being impacted directly by this? And it looks like right now you're about 17%. And Avia was saying that in most areas, once a program's been up and running, you're getting around 12 to 15% of the residents. It'd be 12 to 15% of residents. So it'd be a pretty small number of residents that are usually being impacted by this, because people who tend to run stop signs are people that are maybe running through your neighborhoods or might using things as cut-throughs. And you want to discourage the people from, the Waze users, like I'm a Waze user, but I don't try to use cut-throughs, but anyways, but the Waze users that go through your streets and, might blow through a stop sign.
That's a very helpful graph, thank you.
Can you please share this slide?
Yeah, I'll make sure that everybody
in the
gets it.
packet.
Yeah, we just got it at 5:45 today, so
Thank you.
it's hot off the presses. So we'll make sure we get that to everyone.
Thank you. Councilman Ranker?
Well, one more question and then a comment. How strict are we on stopping behind the white line?
The white line is the trigger for the camera. What the officers are looking for is that they have stopped and before the stopped in or around the stop sign, and that's how we're looking at it. And so that's part of that human look at that secondary look. So it will flag anyone who does not stop at the white line or there's no stutter there, but the officers are there to look to make sure they've stopped within that boundary. So that's why you'll get the
And
rejections.
I just want to again point out that Berwyn Heights, it's a strict, it has to be behind the white line or else you're getting a ticket.
Can I, expand it a little bit further? What you are just asking, we the way AI works. They have a box, imaginary box created. As soon as the car enters into that, from that point to the end of it, within that, it's not going to do it. If you are within those criteria, if you are less than 4 miles, it's just not going to do it. We didn't even know earlier that the AI has the capability to. As you're going through that imaginary box, it is giving at every instance what the speed of the vehicle is. Correct. If somebody's slowing down, obviously the person is making an attempt to be cautious and all that. And the officers are taking into consideration the behavioral aspect and the accountability aspect of the driver. And then all the other factors like weather could be bad, or if there is nothing around, like at 12 midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., there's nobody in the vicinity. Some of the officers, they said, oh, I wouldn't give someone, like just because they rolled through that.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And again, Berwyn Heights is a community that I love and we're very close to, and their signs say, stop behind the line to avoid the fine. I mean, they're very clear about what they're going to get you for. So, and then my one suggestion is, I think I would appreciate, I've looked online, and unless I'm missing it, if there could be a good FAQ about the program, because a lot of the questions we get, I'd love to just send folks the link on the city's website to say, well, it's answering a lot of these questions that we just...
Yeah, I think we've been learning, and I think you're right. It's time for us to be able to put that together. So we'll work with Raina's team on putting together some good FAQs on this, because I think you're right. There's a lot of stuff that we can share, especially even like, some of the safety things that will help people. So we can definitely work through that, and you'll see that in the next couple weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we just wanted to stabilize and kind of do that, and then kind of, and I think it's a great idea. All we are sharing is in the context of transparency and openness in the government, but at the same time, I think it's our duty as well to provide FAQs, and we will do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Hill?
One final question. So as this program is launched, I've had a number of residents come up to me and say, hey, how about one of these in my intersection? And I've mostly been getting favorable comments that way. But as we get these requests, and we're still in this trial or pilot period, is it possible to have more cameras? So say we have 50 cameras, but we only can activate 9 at a time, and it can move around. Say, well, these 9 here are active this week, and just internally be able to do that, turn it on and off that way to stay within the parameters allowed.
Councilman, so there is a investment by the company where we can do that, but they did say that they would be willing to go out and test those particular intersections to determine which intersections. So as long as you submit them, we can put them through the process, and then we can evaluate them. But there is a certain cost to put up each one of the cameras. So they're not super mobile where you can move them around as much. They do become fixed after us, for a little bit to kind of get them rolling through. But we can look at additional ones, but not. I think if we're allowed, from the council direction, if we are allowed to say look at 9 or 10 total throughout the city, that would be helpful guidance to us, so that we can then bring you more information on additional areas if they come up.
One of the things that there is still criteria that we have to follow in order to where these can be placed, and a lot of that has to do with the distance between a school.
Right.
And as you know, we don't have that very many schools in College Park, and that's one of the limitations that we really ran into in neighborhoods like Miss Mackey's neighborhood, in particular, College Park Woods. There's only a very few places that we could actually place a camera.
It's half a mile, correct?
I think it is 1 mile.
1 mile? 1 mile within a radius, so we'd have to make sure that they qualify.
Cherokee Lane, I think that falls within. All right. Thank you. Maybe we should wait a little bit to see how it goes, and then maybe you can consider whether to expand or not. Thank you. Looks like now you can go forward with the red light.
I have 4 last slides, and they're just on the importance of red light automated cameras. Just to give the council some background, the city, when it signed its agreement with Alument back in 2023, we signed an agreement that had both the option for red light and speed and automated speed enforcement. We have not implemented red light automated cameras, just to know, just from the standpoint of pedestrian safety. We just wanted to make sure that the council was aware that the red light program could be implemented, And Alumet does have, you have approved 5 locations, but we would need to bring forward an item to the council in regards to confirming this by an ordinance, and the city attorney and myself would be able to work on that if that's the choice of the council. Again, this is the timeline in which the council began with Alumet in 2023. The studies were done in 2024. And then we've been coordinating, or Alumet has been coordinating with SHA in the county for a number of locations. And in April, we were informed that if the city would like to, that Rhode Island Avenue and Edgewood has received all the required approvals to be able to have a pilot program. These are the 4 currently approved locations. There was a total of 5 at one time, but there are 4 that were approved by the council previously. University Boulevard in Meseret and St. Andrews, Rhode Island Avenue in Edgewood, and then Baltimore Avenue in Cherry Hill. There's actually there was a camera at Baltimore Avenue and Cherry Hill. That's what we're asking for permission from SHA for. And then this would just be what the ordinance is if you all wanted to do it, but I wanted to just give information on that because it's been included as an information-only item, but if there's any comments or anything on that, that's just being provided to you as informational. So those were the 2 things that we wanted to kind of go through tonight, and if you have any questions, I'm here for those.
Yeah. Any questions on the red light cameras? It's the new types of cameras. Some rancor.
I'll put them in email because it doesn't seem like it's something that's
No
coming
problem. Okay.
today.
Thank you. And there's some information in our packet, at the very end of the packet, some information. Thank you so much for your work.
One
I know
more.
it's not easy. You have a question?
Yes.
Councilor Hugh has a question.
One more question. It's just, I just remembered to follow up on a comment made at our public safety meeting last night. Would it be possible to implement one of these stop sign cameras at the Hawk crosswalk systems, like crossing over Rhode Island Avenue to Duval Field, where the pedestrians activate the crossing? Because we have a lot of people.
So Avio was talking about that there is legislation that had been pending in the last session that didn't get passed in regards to cameras at crosswalks, and it's something that is a legislative issue that hasn't been done yet. So if there's not a stop sign there formally, and it's not in a school district, if it's not eligible that way, it's not eligible right now. But they said that there is possibility there might be legislation in regards to crosswalks in the next session. But it has gone twice in the session.
And this is at the county or state level?
At the state level.
State level.
And so I think they might kick it back to where the county regulates it similarly to stop sign. I think that's what the legislation was regarding. But we can make sure that we follow up on it in the next session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So those are the presentations we had. Let's move to the action items. We have 2 of them, I believe. The first one is 26G39, which is the approval of a letter to the chair of the Prince George's County Planning Board with copies to the county executive and the county council supporting funding for the specific projects in the FY27 MNCPC budget. This will be taken by our Assistant City Manager, Laura Reams. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mayor. The item before you tonight is a proposed letter from the city regarding the FY27 Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Operating and Capital Budget. There is an upcoming hearing on Monday, May 11th with the Prince George's County Council regarding the budget. This budget, of course, includes capital projects, plannings, parks, and recreation funding throughout the county. So what we have proposed in this draft is really to formally communicate several targeted and very practical needs that have been raised by residents and align with the city's broader goals around safety, accessibility, and year-round usability of public spaces. I will note this is a letter that the city historically sends, and so we did acknowledge in the letter and thank Capital Park and Planning for the recent and ongoing investments that they have, including the Old Calvert pedestrian bridge study, the stormwater and tree work that we've seen at Cherry Hill Park, and of course the North College Park Community Center project, a project that they have identified in this budget as a FY27 budget priority, and of course which the city has committed $1.5 million towards. This proposed letter highlights 4 priority requests for future consideration, and those requests are regular snow and ice removal on the College Park segment of the Paint Branch Trail, safety and design improvements on the trolley trail to address unauthorized motorized vehicle use, winterization of the restroom at Acredale Community Park, and installation of a water fountain or bottle fill station near the Paint Branch Trail, the area around where the park run gathering happens. So these are relatively modest but high impact improvements, and we think that they will significantly enhance safety, accessibility, and functionality of these facilities and amenities that our residents really use every day. I'm happy to turn it back to council for comments and answer any questions, but we hope that you'll be able to support this letter.
Certainly, those all make sense. That's good points. Any questions or addition? Councilor Ranker.
Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate any chance we can get to advocate for our residents, for MNC-PPC or the county, state, otherwise. Everything looks great to me. The one piece that I would just suggest is, as we mentioned in the Old Calvert pedestrian bridge, if we could just maybe put a little mention of any of the options that we, as council shared, or somehow referenced, they came before us with 4 options, really 3. We said either of these 2 kind of, but this one in particular. And then I know that we had some discussions with MNC-PPC. For the next year, do we know when they want us to kind of send our big list of priorities and kind of kicking off those conversations?
It is typically in the fall, and we'll certainly coordinate with our planning department and our deputy city manager. They're welcome to chime in here now, but I believe it's usually in the fall when the budget process really kicks off, and we do want to get in there early.
Great, so we'll be on the
September,
lookout.
October is usually the deadline. So we'll have an item for you in September for the October submission, because that's when they start doing the submission internally.
Great. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, Mac?
Yes, just a question about safety improvements on the trolley trail. Is that only for the trolley trail? Because I'm seeing the Paint Branch Trail too, that they might need safety, same kind of safety.
We can certainly expand that. This was specific to the comments that we would receive recently about concerns regarding the trolley trail, but if this is something that you're seeing across other trails, we can expand that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other questions? Seeing none. Councilor Hill. Yeah, I see that.
Yes, thank you. It was brought up to me in the placemaking workshop that I went to that there's been a start to an effort of identifying trails by paint color, like a stripe along the trails, which you're on. And the request had been made at me for College Park to extend that effort on our trail, which should be a pink line. But this is a parks and planning trail, and I'm wondering if we can ask for their support in that, and the expense of doing that, or if they just pick it up on their own.
Okay, we might need to do just a little bit of internal homework on that and coordination with them to find out some more details, but we're happy to look into that.
Thank you. Is that new?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a second bite. So, how is the policing of MNC-PPC parks? Is that under this kind of budget, or is that something else?
Park Police.
Park Police.
It is under the Park Police, correct.
Okay, so that would be Park Police. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Right. So thank you. So It's the same budget.
It's the same budget.
Yeah.
So my colleague isn't here, but I'm sure she would have probably mentioned that the MNC PPC Park and College Park Woods is having issues with late night partying there. It's a very secluded park. So I know that she gets the calls. I don't get the calls, but I'm pretty sure she would have mentioned it if she was here.
Yeah, and we also submitted that the two parks that you mentioned as part of our public safety outreach with Mr. Daniel. So we did reach out to the Atcha Park Police in regards to those as well.
Thank you. All right. At this point, I'll entertain a motion. This is an action item. Councilor Mackey.
I can do that. I move to approve the approval of a letter to the chair of the Prince George's County Planning Board with copies to the county executive and the county council supporting funding for specific projects in the FY27 M and CPPC budget.
All right. Further comments? Madam Pro Tem?
I don't have any further comments.
Thank you. So this is an action item. I need to go to the audience. If you have any comments to add on this letter, it's your time. If you have joined online, please raise your virtual hand and we will allow you to speak. Seeing none, let's come back. Any comments before we take the vote? Seeing none, please come forward. Sorry, I didn't see your hands. State your name for the record. And if you're arrested.
Hussain Wahid, there were some interesting comments and extremely valuable with respect to public safety, and I think the time has passed, but next time I can include those. It's a tremendous effort putting the monitors in and enhancing safety, risk prevention. But I also wanted to mention this comment regarding the paths that Councilman mentioned. The color designation of paths and also description of what the path is contributing is utilized in Colombia a lot, and they keep updating the surroundings of the path in such a way that people appreciate the benefits, the health benefits, for example. So that's a great suggestion, and maybe next time we can follow up on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Still, I do not see any virtual hands. So let's come back to the council. Any comments before take the votes? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any abstention? The motion has been approved. So we'll send the letter. All right, the second and I believe the last action item is 26G37, which is the approval of a letter to the Prince George's County ADU Task Force on the implications of the Maryland Accessory Dueling Units ADU Act of 2025 and strategies for influencing Prince George's County's forthcoming ADU legislation. This will be taken by our Director of Planning, Miriam Bader. The floor is yours. Thank you for your patience.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, this is Miriam Bader, Director of Planning and Community Development. This agenda item is to approve the recommendation letter that the Mayor and City Council would like to send to the County ADU Task Force. The purpose of this letter is to assist the county's ADU Task Force in shaping their ADU legislation, meet the state requirements, align with county rules, and support the city's goal of expanding affordable housing while maintaining neighborhood stability. The Maryland ADU Act of 2025 requires that local governments adopt regulations to allow ADUs by October 1st, 2026. The City of College Park faces high rental pressure due to the fact that 61% of undergraduates live off campus. A strategic goal of the city is to prevent investor-owned high occupancy rentals from outcompeting owner-occupied homes, while ensuring ADUs support family needs and overall affordability goals. Staff is proposing that two considerations be added to the City Council letter. One, to recommend that ADUs be approved by the special exception process rather than simply by right. The rationale for this recommendation is that the state of Maryland recommended the special exception approach. The city attorney confirmed it would not be out of compliance with the state mandate, and the special exception approach will help prevent investor-driven ADU construction. And two, the second addition we would like to add to the letter is a homeownership requirement, that either the ADU or the main house be occupied by the homeowner. Oops. This table helps to clarify the difference between the special exception approval method versus the by right approval method. So you can see here that with the special exception, you would review it case by case, and there would be a public hearing. By right, it's automatically allowed if the zoning standards are met. The level of control with special exception, you can tailor the conditions and neighborhood-specific senior or caregiver or special needs. And then by right would just, there would be no considerations, just standard, everyone would be allowed to do that. Investor risk, the special exception helps prevent investor-oriented rentals, and by right, it's just easier for investors to implement. This concludes my presentation. Staff and I are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I know it went through several iterations of changes, and thank you for your work. Thank you, Council, for your feedback as well. Questions? Councilor Hill.
Okay, yes. Thank you for bringing forward the request to do it by special exemption. I totally agree with that. Might be the most valuable tool, my tool belt to make this something that will work in our community. And then also, thank you also for wanting to add the owner-occupied clause. I think that is very important to, again, the success of this in our community. The third one I didn't see mentioned is and it was mentioned in their report, is that we could do a special exemption through in the process for parking, related to parking issues. That we could do a parking study, in which we are going to be doing a parking study anyway, citywide. That we can use that as one of the criteria for allowing it or not.
Correct. We could require a minimum parking standard. Yes.
And would that be reflected in this letter?
I'm sorry?
Would that be reflected in this letter that we sent?
So if the council so chooses to do that, yes, I can add that in.
Because I really think that that they should hear our concerns and not err on the side of making low-hanging fruit, like, okay, don't go for this or go for that, but not mention these other things that they might not accept as easily, because I think we need to be on record of objecting to certain things that would impact us as well, could impact other communities. So I think that our concerns should be addressed in this letter, even though it may not be a priority concern for them. They should hear it out, but that we weren't without comment on the issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and I'm sorry. I also want to mention that Nate Foreman, our other city attorney, is on the virtual.
I was going to recognize him. Thank you, Mr. Foreman, for joining us, and thank you, our assistant planner, Carlos Nunes, for your work as well. Thank you for joining. Council Member Jordan.
Yes, Mr. Foreman, all of the attorneys, could you sort of walk me through the owner-occupied piece of this that is indeed allowed by what the state has put forth as far as what zoning authority jurisdictions will need to do?
Yeah, so if Nate wants to answer that, or Stephanie.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes.
I see you.
Can everyone hear me?
Oh, I can sort of hear him.
Can you come closer to the mic, please?
Is this better?
Not really.
Huh.
Maybe your computer volume, something like that.
Let me see. My volume. Is this any better?
We can, and I can hear barely.
Can you hear me or no?
We can barely hear you.
But we can hear you enough to understand what you said. I don't know about the recording, but if you could attempt to, perhaps, and just speak very loudly.
Screaming.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I got distracted by my own microphone issues. Would you mind repeating the question, Councilmember Jordan?
Yes, my question was, could one of our attorneys please walk me through the owner-occupied piece of this with regards to how that would be allowed within the, what the state is asking for the zoning authority jurisdictions to do?
Okay, thank you. So the owner occupancy is not one of the state restrictions the state has placed on where and how these ADUs can be operated. They have left it sort of open-ended as to whether jurisdictions would like to implement owner occupancy requirements either for the principal structure or for the accessory structure. And a jurisdiction like Howard County has actually implemented owner occupancy requirements. So it is our understanding, while there is a potential concern that the occupancy requirements could run afoul of a dormant commerce clause issues, which I have discussed with legal counsel for the Maryland Department of Planning, there is no clear indication as to how courts would actually find or rule in that case. And in fact, we think there could be good justification for it being not running afoul of the dormant commerce clause, depending on how, let's say, the owner occupancy issue is actually implemented, which we'd have to get into the details, and that would be obviously coordinated with the county's accessory dwelling unit task force.
It's unfortunate that I couldn't really hear that well enough to feel.
Maybe
paraphrase.
Ms. Bader, can you summarize it?
I would
Well,
prefer
I'm
an
gonna
attorney
just-
summarize it.
I will summarize. Our position is that if that is a policy position that this council would want to take, that it be owner occupied, that we put that requirement, we should make that recommendation to the task force. And then between the lawyers, park and planning, and at the county level, if there's concerns, it will be addressed. There are some jurisdictions that require it to be owner occupied. We do not see a prohibition in state law for that, but it is, I don't want to say far from settled, but all legislation can be challenged. But I don't think it's a settled question, and I think we should ask for it if that's the will of the body.
All right, thank you. That's very, very helpful. I would be in favor of that, yes.
Okay. Thank you. Is that all you have? All right, let's go to Councilor Ranker and then Councilor Simmons.
Great. 2 questions, and I'll start with following up on the homeownership requirement. My concern with that is what happens after it's permitted, because, you know, I live in my home, I'm going to build an ADU, great, and then I sell the property, and if we, as College Park, don't have an ability to restrict, say, an occupancy permit for that second dwelling, then it's just kind of a way that, you know, you're kind of letting them in, and then you can't do anything about it once a property gets turned over, once it gets sold. Is that, and maybe Mr. Kokar also, I don't know if if that's a concern that is warranted at this time.
So that's another reason why I would recommend the special exception, because then you can put in a condition like that at the time of sale, you know, it would be an understanding, or it would be a condition that it won't continue unless it's owner occupied, the ADU. It could be specified.
Because I'm also wondering too, if, I mean, I appreciate here, this was something that I had advocated for, number 8, about clear, consistent, well-resourced enforcement mechanisms. Maybe that's a note in there too about municipalities having some sort of ability to, again, I'm not sure about our code and whether we would have the right to, again, deny an ADU to be rented if again, it's already been approved. So anyway, that's just, I think I'm clear, but I don't know the answer on that. The other question, I just wanted to, if you and or Mr. Nunes could share the special exception portion you guys put in there, helps prevent investor-oriented rentals as one of the pros versus the by right. I just wondered if you could expand on that a little bit. Like, how does that help prevent investor-oriented rentals, or how could it?
So with the special exception, they review it case by case, and so the applicant would explain their individual circumstance and why they would, why they are advocating for the ADU, and that helps you sort of sort out, what would be an investor. You would review that as a different criteria than if it was somebody that, let's say, they wanted a family member to live in the other unit.
And that could be a legal, a legal reason that the county could say no. Like they could legally take that into consideration when deciding whether to approve the construction of an ADU or not.
Right. I mean, I think the way you would phrase it is you would have different conditions on it. So let's say you did that owner occupancy condition, then that would dissuade the investor who, let's say, lives out of state or doesn't live in the town.
I see. So what I hear you saying is they would still need to have, there would still need to be something in the county law saying that, one of them has to be owner occupied.
Right. With the special exception, you can put conditions on it. So one of the conditions could be that one of those units has to be owner occupied.
And that could just be applied across the board.
Sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Councilmember Hugh and Councilmember Simmons.
Yes, thank you. Just to kind of address the first question that Councilmember Ranker had about the sale of a property with an ADU on it. We have licensing, rental licensing abilities in this city. So when a house goes for sale that has an ADU, we can say that it is without automatic note allowing it to be a rental. It's without a rental permit. So it would have to be a homeowner to buy it.
I'm not sure we have the ability to do that legally.
Because
that's my question.
It's just we're not going to allow a rental license for the ADU. Now, once it's sold and the owners live there and they want to have a special exemption for, they want to have a family member, they want to supplement their income or what have you, and it's owner occupied, then we can permit it. You can issue a rental permit. But
right
now we're just issuing out unlimited rental permits. We're at 71% rentals in our single-family homes. And at a certain point, we have to say, hey, there's at 95% rentals in our single-family houses. do we finally say, oh, we're going to limit our rental licenses? Until, what, 100%? We are the ones issuing the rental licenses in the city. And if we can say there will not be a rental license issued automatically on this property at the time of sale because of the ADU, then we can issue one under, exemption, special exemption.
Yeah, that's.
Point of information.
Yes.
My question is, do we have the right? I mean, I understand, right?
Your mic, please.
Yeah,
so I don't know if I can. Yeah, I guess that's the bad part about the.
Okay.
Let me now.
Yeah. So, but that's precisely my question. I know we only have the right to do what we've been granted by the state or the county. Would we have the right to say no to an occupancy permit for a rental for an ADU in that kind of situation?
I'm going to try to direct us to what we're trying to accomplish here. Remember, this is not our own ADU ordinance. We're trying to make the recommendations that would show up in the county ordinance. So some of the things that we're asking, I don't want us to go too far off track. We want to make sure what is it we want the ordinance to say, and I want to make sure that I don't lose that in our letter, that we don't get too deep in our policy instead of looking at the overall. And I know we're splitting hairs a little bit, but I want to make sure we don't go too far off track.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could, I think one of the things that I'm noticing here is, by state law, you can't, by zoning, is how they really determine a single family versus single family rental. There is no difference. So it doesn't allow us to apply it differently to different standards to them, whether one's rental and one is single family. And we run into this constantly with how the current state law is kind of set up. And so that's one of the reasons why we don't have a licensing structure that's set up that way, where you can treat them differently as a different type of use. And that is something that has to be addressed overall in state law eventually, to really make, if that's the way the council wanted to go, there would need to be some changes made at that level to kind of make this work.
Okay, but that is not the scope of this letter, right? I mean, we're only making recommendations to the ADU task force. That is the scope of
Correct.
the letter. Thank you. These are good points. We can explore them certainly in the future. All right. What's next? Councilmember Simmons.
Thank you so much. So in continuing to think about ADUs and the county's eventual legislation addressing them, the policies that they'll establish, I know I referenced this last time, but I'm going to reference it again. The intent, or the purposes of the state's ADU law. It says it's a policy of the state to promote and encourage the creation of accessory dwelling units, ... to meet the housing needs of the citizens of Maryland, and local jurisdictions shall establish policies that further the intent of this subtitle. So that's something I've been keeping kind of front and center in mind as I've been thinking about this, as well as my knowledge of best practices when it comes to ADUs. So if I'm thinking, I think the letter right now, generally, I would not be in favor of amending it too much more unless it were to be a little bit clearer at the top about some of the benefits of accessory dwelling units. However, I do see staff's two recommendations. When it comes to the owner occupancy language, I actually don't know that we have specific language that's being proposed, but I absolutely take our city attorney's point that perhaps there are legal concerns, but they don't necessarily need to be ours. They can be the county's, and I know that MNC PPC has very qualified and capable attorneys on their staff who I'm sure our staff can coordinate with. And I appreciate, Mr. Foreman, your communications with attorneys at the state level as well. So it seems like that guidance, if we wanted to put some information about requiring that one of the dwellings, whether it's the main dwelling or the ADU on the property, be owner occupied. It seems a bit onerous to say they both need to be owner occupied, but just to have some level of owner occupancy requirement for the lot itself, I think that could make good sense. When it comes to the special exception, this is something that I really would not be in favor of. In my experience, special exceptions are reserved for uses that are going to have potential for a significantly negative impact on surrounding properties, things like adult-oriented establishments, gun shops, large private schools in residential neighborhoods that are going to generate a lot of traffic. In my experience, the trend is to allow ADUs by right, which does not mean everyone gets to have them. It means you still need a building permit, you still need to go through fire review, you still have all of your applicable requirements, you're going to be getting a full review, but it's not something that's going to take a lot more time and effort and money, and that is really what the special exception represents. It's additional time for our friends and neighbors who may want to house their aging relatives in their backyards, their adult disabled children, etc. So I actually think if we were to say this should be a special exception, what we would see is the people who would be willing to go through that process are going to be the investors, because it's a lot more time, it's a lot more money, and it's a lot more risk. Ms. Bader indicated, you have all of these additional kind of discretionary requirements that you need to meet. There are some that are already standard for all special exceptions. It's possible that the county could add additional specific to ADUs. However, in my experience, the idea that we could have a special exception criteria that says, an investor can't own the property is not aligned at all with my experience with special exceptions. And I will say, Kelly and I have had 2 District 2 residents reach out to us. I've heard a diversity of opinions on ADUs, but I really appreciated what one of our residents sent to CPMC on April 21st. He said, first, the proposed special exception process would act, and he's actually the person that Kelly and I ran against, Chris Gill, back in the fall, and he also is one of our advisory planning board former members. He said, first, the special exception process would actively deter homeowners from pursuing ADU development, leading them either to create illegal ADUs or abandon the process entirely. The ADU process should be clear, certain, and decisive. Similar to the building permit process, an owner should be able to know that if they follow a clearly defined process and meet all the requirements, an ADU will be approved. Special exceptions are costly and subject to political and personal vagaries that could render an applicant's significant investment wasted. And that is something that I tend to agree with, and I thought he just said it quite succinctly. So I will leave it at that. Thank you all for entertaining me.
Any comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out one thing, that I contacted the state who's actually developing the ADU regulations, and I explained the situation about College Park, and the state staff that's doing the ADU regulations was the one that said, have you looked at special exception? And the other thing that she said in the case of College Park, also, did you look at home ownership? So both of those came from the state staff that is developing the ADU legislation.
After staff prompted them, after our staff, it was something that we raised earlier.
It's not exactly how that occurred.
Okay.
What it occurred was I explained about College Park, and then she sent me an email, and she said, have you considered special exception? Mm-hmm. Have you considered putting in a requirement about home ownership?
Thank you.
I'm sorry, can I just raise a point of order? Is there going to be a public opportunity?
There will be a public public comments. Yes. Certainly.
As opposed
So there will be, after the discussion, there will be motion on the table, second, and then we'll go to the public. Thank you.
Aren't you supposed to be asking questions of staff as opposed to debating the merits?
It's only public comments. You can ask question at that time, but public comments, we do not go back. We do not go back and forth. Yeah, I'm just following the rules and procedure. Thank you. Who is next? Mayor Pro Tem? Councilor Jordan first, then Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. So it feels like a lot of things have come up that in this discussion, and so that would be why I would have asked it earlier. But it seems, if you can just help me understand this, is the only you mentioned the owner occupancy requirement as being something that would be sort of a natural piece to come out of a special exception. Does that mean that you couldn't really have the owner occupancy requirement for either unit without the special exception?
No, you could have it without. You could have just put in a requirement of owner occupancy for one of the two units.
Mm-hmm.
That would be fine. If another way to do it would be special exception, and that could be one of the requirements within the special exception. So there's two different approaches.
For special exception, is there a way to streamline this in a sense where we don't have the situation where every single person who wants to have an ADU needs to get specific county approval, because it seems like for the number of people in not just College Park but anywhere in the county, that would take a lot of staff time for the county and slow things down more than what I think maybe our residents would want. So my question is there a way to streamline some of that so that under these circumstances that it's not by right but more of a rubber stamp, whereas other situations that needs to be looked at more closely? I'm wondering if there's a way to split the difference here.
Right. I totally understand your question. Unfortunately, the city does not have zoning authority, so the special exception process goes through a zoning hearing examiner, and it's at the county level. So the city doesn't have that authority.
Well, I don't mean the city. I mean what we're recommending the county to do.
Oh.
That if they do special exception, then they have to go through public hearing for every single ADU that comes to them for the entire county. Is that correct?
I mean, that would be up to the county of how they want to do it. Do they want to say for university towns, and they can define that would be a special exception, but it won't be for non-university towns.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I see Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. So you all know that I am not a planner. But I looked at the ADUs and I was thinking of what is the motivation behind them. The motivation is to give an opportunity for maybe a new homeowner to have a place where they can, have a rental on their property, whether it be a basement apartment or whatever, or for like an in-law suite or a grandma suite or whatever you want to call it. So I was looking at the motivation behind the ADUs. And so for me, that meant that there needed to be an owner on the premises, whether the owner lives in the ADU or the owner lives in the main house. There needs to be an owner occupancy on the property. So I think that that's very important. I think another thing that's very important is the parking. If we are going to be adding, new dwelling units for people to live in, we need to be considered the parking problem that we have. We just heard this young couple come and tell us about their parking problem. So, I mean, to me, we need to do something. We need to, tell the county about, parking is going to be an issue with ADUs. Now, the whole special exemption thing is very confusing to me. If people are, like, I can see people using the ADU process very positively. I can also see them using it in a negative way. So the special exemption thing is really hard for me to get my thoughts around. I would tend to err on the side of caution and go with the special exemption. I do see the fear that my colleagues have expressed that it would stumble up the process. So I'm not the special exemption. If you could give us is there more information available on that, or
what could be some test case scenarios
Thank
of
you.
special exemptions?
Mr. Mayor, may I interrupt you all for just one moment? So I want to make sure that we are staying on track again. Miriam made the presentation, then she had a couple of, I think you made a couple of suggested amendments to the letter.
Yes.
And we're taking questions, but we have not put the question on the table. There's no motion, and we're having this full discussion.
I can make a motion.
There is no motion yet. Yes. Before you make the motion, has anyone else any questions? I like the beginning. Can I make a comment about the letter of the content? So I saw the text in the beginning of the letter before all the bullet points, and I like the idea of. And you pointed that we should be discouraging the investors taking over use this in a negative way that might be impacting the communities like Calvert Hills community, where many single-family homes, owner-occupied homes, being converted into rental homes. So I like that language in the beginning of the letter, but I was hoping if we could add that language in one of those 8 points in some way. So there's some noise outside.
I'm sorry. So to add that language into the letter, right?
In the bullets, in the 8 bullets, you included some way, because when the ADU task force will see the letter, they'll probably skip the introduction. They will just go into the 8 points, and they'll miss the essence of the letter. So,
but Mayor, I think it would be more understandable to be able to discuss it if you would make a motion, and then if you want to have amendments to the letter, we could handle it that way. If we can get the matter before the body.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I cannot move.
And I'm sorry, just a point of order. So after they make the motion, then we take the public comment, or what's the?
We'd have, if the motion is made and properly second, then we'd have the question before the body, and we could have discussion, and we could look at whether we're going to make a motion to accept the letter as is, or are we going to have amendments to the letter?
Okay.
Right, but when do we do the public comment part?
I think this is an action item, and
This is
then
an action
you usually
item.
go to the public.
It will.
After.
So what I can do, I can entertain a motion. I think Mayor Pro Tem Mackey wanted to do that. And then we can go to the public, get the comments, and if there is a desire to make an amendment, we can make the amendment, and then we can take the comments again. That's the way to. So I can entertain a motion.
Okay, so I'm. Yeah.
Before the motion's made, there's 2 motions on the recommended sheet.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey, which one you want to make?
Well, I actually wanted to make for me, I think the best thing to do is to make the motion and then bring amendments.
But there are 2 motions. In the motion sheet, there are 2 motions.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see, okay. I have to think about this. Hold on for a second.
Those are
All
just
right.
recommended. You can come up with your own motion.
Is there any staff recommended motion?
So I would like to make the motion. So I like to move to adopt the letter of recommendation with additional comments to allow ADUs by requiring owner occupancy for on the lot, to recommend to allow ADUs by special exemption to the Prince George's County Council Accessory Dwelling Unit Task Force to guide their development of the county ADU regulations, and to request that there be a minimum parking exemption with a parking study. These recommendations in these letters emphasize the city's commitment to addressing student rental market concerns and supporting neighborhood stability.
So you basically took the second one.
I took the second one and
Right.
put the other things in, and my colleagues can decide whether they want to support or not. Thank you.
Any second?
Second.
All right. Further comments, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes. So, like I just said, I'm not. The special exemption is still a little foggy for me, but because I'm not a planner, I tend to trust our planners, and they came and recommended that to us. So I think that it's a good idea that we consider it. I, of course, will listen to my colleagues and the testimony of our residents. As I was reading the testimonies that we received, there was a lot of concern about ADUs, and I feel that what I added to the motion addresses those concerns that I read in the ADU letters that we received a while back and just recently. So I would love to hear from my colleagues and from the audience. Thank you.
So first audience, then colleague. So let's go to the audience now. Sorry. Thank you all for patiently waiting. Please come forward one by one. Mr. Schroeder, please, for the record.
For the record, Mark Schroeder. So the state passed this law because the local governments of Maryland have almost uniformly been in very bad faith about ADUs. They've all known that there was a significant public interest in having ADUs, and they've all fought it as hard as they could because NIMBYism is alive and well in this state. NIMBYism is alive and well in Prince George's County and in the city of College Park. I cannot believe you want a process where everybody who wants to have a unit in their backyard is going to have to come in for a public hearing. This is in a county with 800,000 people? You know, are you serious? If you do it that way, the county is going to set it up so that no exceptions are ever granted. That's the way it's going to be. I mean, if you look at what our problem is, I mean, I just looked at Zillow for the value, for the rental value and the sale value of my house. The ratio of the sale value to the rental value is called the cap rate. It's right now 10 to 1. At 10 to 1, all of you should be buying my house and renting it out. I mean, that's what you owe your families, because as long as the rental market is that hot compared to the property value, you are going to get continued invasion of the residential neighborhoods by tenants, and if you want to say students, then by students. That's what's going to happen. What we need is a lot more housing. We need to take the heat out of the rental market ADUs is not going to solve that problem by itself, but it's one part of the solution. I'll thank you.
Thank you. Next. Stalling. The record, please state your name and the record.
Stephanie Stullick, resident of College Park, living in the Old Town neighborhood. Thank you. I wanted to say I appreciated your council's guidance on the order of the process. I do think it's important to allow public input prior to the body debating the merits. When I first heard about ADUs, I thought, oh, that is so great. You know, people can have a, mother-in-law apartment. Your mother-in-law, your father, aging parent, your younger adult children can live on your property with you and you can help each other. And that's, a really good kind of a community supporting structure to be able to have. I totally support that. I'm very concerned that the way that this state law has been written is so flexible and so vague that without some guidelines to protect our community, that it's going to turn into something very different from what people initially thought of when they thought about ADUs. And you all know I live in the Old Town neighborhood. That is the neighborhood where most of the ADU pressure is going to happen. It is not going to reduce the cost of living, the cost of housing in Old Town. Investors and existing absentee landlords are going to see it as an opportunity to vastly increase their income, because if they can build, a major addition onto the house such that instead of 5 unrelated people, they could fit 10 unrelated people, then that's what they're going to do, right? And it's not going to result in more affordable housing. It's just going to result in more intensive housing, particularly in my neighborhood. So I'm sensitive to that. That's maybe a selfish, point of view. From your perspective, representing all of the city, I think I can totally understand why you would want to encourage ADUs of the type where somebody has a family member that is going to live in, and their home adjacent, supporting each other. That's a beautiful thing. But if you start having investors buying up houses and then adding on in ways that, now there's, instead of maybe you had a family living in the house and now you're going to have 10 unrelated people living in that house, and all of the pressure on parking, which I know you already hear complaints about. And I think it's going to make the value of a house to an investor so much more than the value that a potential homeowner can pay. And I think we really have to worry about creating that dynamic. I think it's really important to keep in mind that you guys are not the final body. You're just making recommendations. The county is going to hash this all out. You don't have to get it right. You just have to put things on the table. Put everything you want on the table. Everything you think that will benefit your neighborhoods, put it on the table through your letter. The county council is going to figure it out. They have a lot of legal advice. You don't have to figure it all out tonight. Just get it on the table. I support the council member's motion. I would have added more, but I'm happy with what you did. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else wants to speak on this? Please come forward. State your name for the record.
There were interesting suggestions all around, and I think it reflects on the fact that the guidelines focusing on techno-economic aspects of resolving this problem, maybe they have not been brought up as clearly as they usually are before the standards are adopted and guidelines. So you will find research-based or research-informed decision-making can help a lot, resolve both interests, the technical, economic, and family interests at the same time, because that's what optimization models do. And a lot of times not using them just keeps increasing the problems in whatever resolution you want to apply it to. So it's well worth attempting and utilizing it as we find these complexities come up. They should be applied or at least attempted, and you'll find the resolutions are extremely cost effective and they satisfy the needs of different communities, different families at the same time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's come forward. State your name one more time.
Hi, Cindy Robles. Again, very new to the neighborhood, so not sure how much is being done in regards to parking. So one thing for me specifically, I was an alumni and graduated in spring 22. None of this Trader Joe's was here or anything. I think the bigger issue is really the developments that are being done. I think if you really look at how housing was when I was here, I have a sister who's a sophomore right now, to what the prices of these apartments are, they're almost the cost of living in Arlington and living in the city. So students are now not really looking at living in these apartments, they're looking for housing outside. And I feel like specifically the 80 units that you guys are doing, I think for me, priority right now would be parking, in a sense of, okay, yes, if you do build those, where is everybody going to park? I think these apartments, I believe, do have garage parking, but at least where I'm living right now, Cherokee Street, and there are a couple other houses there, you know, I guess the argument would be, where is everyone going to be parking? You know, and if the enforcement is still going to be the permit parking, it's, for me, for example, I do have a 5-bedroom, 5-bath home. We have 3 cars. I spoke with a neighbor, I believe. He said he has a 3-bedroom. He still gets the 2 permit parking. So I think my concern is more so, if there is a house that has more rooms, how are we being fair with how many permits are allocated to that? And I think the second thing would also kind of be what he was saying, at the purchase price of where somebody bought the home in 2020, increased by almost $200,000, and where I bought it now that I see that parking is a restriction, now I'm like, okay, well, if I do decide to sell it, is my investment even going to be worth it? You know, we do plan on staying there for the next 30 years, maybe eventually have our family there, but now it's like, oh, let's say we grow out the house, now we want to sell the house, and now parking is always going to be an issue. It's like, will this home really be an investment, in a sense of, I just think there's a lot of construction being built. I know there's a green area in front of the townhomes, which I don't know if it's going to be developed into a new apartment complex. I believe across the street it used to be another hotel or motel. Now it's the flats, I believe. I spoke with a neighbor. He said it's a lower income housing or something along those lines. So I think my concern is more so, we're building more homes, but are we really taking into consideration where everyone's going to be parking? Whether it's a student looking for parking, or even just we wanted to go out to eat here, and you have to pay for parking. So there's always an issue where, if you're not a student, are you really encouraged to come spend money here, or are you more encouraged to go into the city? So I think we have to think about, how are we wanting our own locals to spend money here outside of just the students? So
Certainly.
that's it.
Thank you. Thanks for kindly speaking. Anyone else wants to speak? I do not see any virtual hands. Seeing none, let's come back to the council. And any further comments or any amendments before we take the vote? Councilmember Ranger.
Yes, I think, well, I guess I should I move to amend the motion by striking the special exception aspect of the original motion.
Thank you. Is there any second?
Second. Oh.
Yeah, I heard you.
Second.
Any further comments?
Yeah, I think the real issue is having the right requirements in place. It's not the special exception aspect of it, because the same process that then could be used to challenge, say, an investor building is going to be the same one that's going to be challenging a granny flat, and it's going to increase costs for the folks who really need this the most. It's going to not help in the affordability process, and it's just going to benefit the people with money, and the people with money are going to be the ones, making it difficult for their neighbor to get that ADU, and forcing them to pay. So I think to really focus on having the owner occupancy requirement parking, along with all of the things we have here. I've appreciated what our legal counsel has shared to help us refine to make sure we weren't advocating for things that were not legal for us, legal for the county to adopt, has helped, and I think those would do the trick.
Thank you. Question to Ms. Bader. I saw in the motion exception, a special exception was mentioned, but in the letter I did not see it for some reason. Is that?
You would have to add it. You'd have to.
You have to add it. Okay.
have to add it.
But okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, thank you.
So. So the motion is moved and the seconded. Now I need to go to the the audience again. So please come forward to speak on these amendments. The amendment is to take out the exception amendment from the original motion.
Again, I am opposed to the amendment. I think that you need to put everything on the table for the county council to take into consideration, and for the task force to take into consideration. I do think it's important to note that it was the state of Maryland planning staff that initially suggested that the city consider this special exception process. Very often you don't get everything you ask for, so you may not get the owner occupancy requirement. That might be what you think is the most important. I think it's the most important. But you may not get everything that you ask for, and so it's better to ask for all of the tools and then let it get hashed out further at the county level. We have some very good representatives on the county council who very much have the community's best interest at heart, and you support them in advocating for us when you give them more options for them to consider. And if you don't include it, then they don't have any community support for considering it. Maybe they can figure out a way to make a special exception process reasonable and appropriate. But I do worry that if you pin all your hopes on the owner occupancy requirement and the county decides that they can't go with that, then what do you have left? I worry you will have no protections left. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shorter, please state your name.
Well, I meant to say earlier that I strongly endorse what Ms. Simmons, Councilmember Simmons, was saying. The curse of planning in America is excessive process, excessive public hearings. That's the proposal. That's the special exception proposal. Excessive public hearings, excessive process. That's what's destroying the American housing industry. I'm strongly against it.
You're against it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else wants to speak on the amendment, which asks to take out the special exception? Seeing none, I don't see any virtual hands. Let's come back to the council. Any comments before we take the vote? Councilor Hill.
So when writing about special exemptions, I think we need to be specific that it would be a special exemptions for university towns or municipalities that already have a unusual high density as is, because we're trying to address the lack of housing, and when we already have a certain density already that's already creating problems, that's where you need a special exemption. Shouldn't be across the board for everything at the county level, and I think the special exceptions would come to our review instead of county review, if I understand it correctly. That's the way I would prefer to see it. And that special exception we can have in the application up forward what these exceptions are. If you want it if you're owner occupied and you want to build an in-law suite, or whatever for your family, or even if it's you're a senior and you can prove that you need extra income, you have the space and you have no parking issues on your street, then fine, we can make that exception. That wouldn't add as much of resistance in acquiring a special exception. You already know going forward what those exceptions are that would be allotted. So I don't think I agree with removing the special exceptions rather. I think it's like former Councilmember Stugg said, it's a tool in our toolbox that we want to be able to utilize every tool we can, because there will be workarounds, and we've got to be able to be ready.
Appreciate
for
it.
that.
Any further comments before I take the vote on the amendment? Councilor Simmons.
Just a brief, I think the special exceptions are so confusing because the language is confusing. Just the name special exception seems like there is an exception from something, but when I think about special exceptions and like how to describe them, it really is at its core kind of describing a process. So if we have the county's use table, an accessory dwelling unit is a use in that use table. We have single-family dwellings. They're going to be assigned a type of use, a use classification. They're going to be permitted by right, as our staff mentioned earlier. There are by right uses. There are conditional uses that have conditions associated with them. There are special exceptions. And the special exception really just says you have to do additional process. You have a different approving authority. And as our resident indicated earlier, part of that additional process is a public hearing. And at the public hearing, there will be people who testify, likely people who are frequently motivated by their opposition to the proposal, not always, but frequently. And the approving authority, which if I'm not mistaken is the Board of Appeals, has to make a set of discretionary findings, which are related primarily to the impact on nearby properties and communities. And those are squishy, they're discretionary, they're risky. In order to get to the special exception, in order to get to that point in the process, you're going to have to draw up building plans already. You're going to have a site plan. Very frequently, you're paying experts to do things for you, and there's no guarantee that even if you dot all your I's and cross all your T's, you meet all of the standards related to environment, building requirements, safety, fire, etc. You still could get to the end of that expensive, risky, lengthy process and have the board decide, no, we don't think that you meet these discretionary findings. So I do think it's kind of a tricky concept to wrap your mind around just because it says it's special and it's an exception when really it's referencing a lengthy, expensive, discretionary process. And all of that to say, if the use is a by right use, it still is going to be subject to all of the other regulatory requirements that would be applicable to other kind of small developments. So I don't mean to be too didactic here, but I do think that this concept is quite, it can be quite confusing to understand like what the impact is, and I thought it might be helpful to talk a little bit around what a special exception is and its impact.
Thank you. Councilor Ranker.
Yeah, and I just want to add that I think that for me and the motivation on this is I have, in my more limited understanding of the special exception process, is that it benefits those with money and time and the well-connected, and those kind of things to me mean more benefits for the investors and not for our residents who really need them. And so, and frankly, the county just does not have the capacity for it. And I think it would just create another level of frustration with the county processing and create even more problems. So I would much rather have very clear outlines like this than have a special exception process that will will deter the people who need it most.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, thank you. Can you clarify for me what the city's involvement would be in a special exception at the county level? So should we, for example, recommend to them, and then they do, create a special exception for College Park for however they do that? Is there anything that the city would be involved in? We would do code, like inspections and things like that, but as far as the approval process, would any of that come to the city, or would it all be county decisions and hearings and all of the process being through the county?
I see. So the process would start with the county. However, they do ask the municipality for their comments or their input on that.
And then in that case, it would be something where each homeowner would come to mayor and council in like each time somebody wants an ADU, they would need to come to the city, or is that something that staff would take care of and
No,
we
just-
would give direction?
Yes, staff usually just takes care of that.
I see.
It's a case by case.
Right. I mean, an example is there was a car wash, and car washes are permitted by special exception. So that started with the county. However, then they came to the city and said, what's the city view on this? Actually,
But they came before
that
council.
did come before the city council. Yes, you're right.
Mhm.
Yes.
And we said
Sorry.
yes, and then the county said no in that particular example. After we made the
Right.
recommendation.
Well, right. I think county council also.
Motion to extend the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Extend it.
Right. But one suggestion that Alan Hugh made was, the way I heard it was, if they don't meet the requirement of home occupancy, then you could require it to be special exception. I mean, that would be another variation of it.
Is that a possibility?
Yeah,
So I'm torn because everyone has made excellent points. ADUs will be very beneficial for many families in College Park and for many people who want to rent in College Park. It will also create tremendous strain depending on how it's implemented. And both of the recommendations, whether it's special exception or by right, are blunt force. And so either one of those is going to have people who are detrimentally affected. And so I just wanted to say
So
that on record.
let's take one at a time. So there is a motion on the table on the amendment. Let's take the vote on this first, and then if there is more amendment, we can entertain that. How about that? Make it simple. If there is no comments, let's take a vote.
Roll call.
Let's do the roll call. Okay, I was thinking about that. Starting with
The original motion passed.
No, nothing has passed. So we are voting on the amendment. The amendment is to take out the special exception from the original motion. Councilor Hugh?
No.
And Councilor Jordan? To remove the exception from the motion. You can come back.
Please come back.
Councilor Simmons?
Yes.
And Councilor Ranker?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey? And Councilmember Jordan?
No.
Okay, so the motion failed. Okay. Is there any amendment? If not, then we can go back to the original motion and take a vote. Is there an amendment, further amendment? Okay, let's vote on the original motion. The roll call again? Okay.
Yes.
I see. Councilor Hill, did you want to make a comment?
No, I said
Okay.
yes. I'm
Okay.
voting yes.
Yes. And Councilman Jordan?
Yes.
And Councilmember Simmons?
Nope.
Councilmember Ranker?
Yes.
And Mayor Pro Tem Mackey?
Yes.
Okay, so it's passed 4-0.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
4-1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4-1.
4-1, sorry, because 0 means no. 4-1. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, staff, and thank you all who came tonight and spoke on this item. Appreciate it. All right. Those are the action items I had. Let's move to
Future agenda.
future agenda items. Right. I'm looking into my motion sheet. I don't think I've seen any.
You didn't, but I have to make one.
Did you get a chance to submit a request?
So
form?
I'm making this on behalf of my colleague that had a family emergency, and
Did
I'm
she,
sure.
Did she submit a
I
request?
don't think that she had the opportunity to, but I'm certain she will. And she said it had to be done tonight.
Oh, really? Oh, yes.
So,
yes,
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 so
yes, yes, yes.
I moved to it on behalf of my colleague. I moved to add to next week's agenda the proclamation honoring Madam Speaker Jocelyn Peña-Melnick.
Right, right. This is time sensitive, so I think we can make an exception. Again, the word exception, not to have the formal request form. Okay, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed and no abstention? We'll be making that proclamation in the next week's work session. All right, seeing none, let's go to the audience on the comments. This is the final chance you have to comment on anything under the sun. All right, seeing none, let's come back to the council for comments, starting with Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Okay. So it was a busy time. We didn't have a meeting last week, so I had the distinct privilege of meeting with the management team here and the mayor and meeting President Pines. And there's some really interesting things going on at the university, which the fact that I'm married to a physicist, he's very excited about this whole quantum thing. And I don't understand it at all, but I'm glad that President Pines does, and we're going to have a Universal Quantum Congress here in College Park. So that's really neat. I also had the privilege of, with the mayor and council member Jordan and the student liaison, interviewing the student liaison, so that was very exciting. Got to go to the safety meeting, got to also celebrate with the fire department over in College Park, and I went to a very interesting meeting with the CBE on community solar. So that was very interesting. I'm sure I did other things too that I'm forgetting because I have a senior brain sometimes. But I also wanted to just really give a shout out to this and just really encourage our residents to read this because it really is tells you how to live in the city. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, staff, for doing a fantastic job. They always do a fantastic job in designing it and putting the information there. Okay, Councilor Moranka.
Pass.
I will be brief. I am not going to repeat many things Mayor Pro Tem actually did, and we did many things together. One additional thing, I had the opportunity to join Councilmember Hugh and Councilmember Jacob Hernandez last week at the metro event, the College Park Metro Station, and they launched a kind of advanced technology initiative, Tap, Ride, and Go. So basically, you do not need actually Metro card to use Metro Garage, and also I think the same thing applies to train stations. Sorry, if you ride the card as well, Metro. And they chose College Park among all the close to 98 stations in the system. That was a big deal. So I had the opportunity to be there, and it was, I believe, well attended and well promoted as well. Thank you. All right, Councilmember Simmons.
Pass.
Jordan.
Pass.
And Councilmember Hugh.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I was impressed to learn at that meeting that we went to at the Metro Tap and Go that we are the seventh station being rolled out to also include parking as well as ridership as for Tap and Go. You don't need to sign up for it. You just use your credit card, any credit card, and it works. So I was amazed by that. And I also attended the emergency preparedness meeting with the Council of Governments along with Councilmember Jordan. And let's see, I had a Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources National League of Cities committee meeting, which went really well. And then we did the Amplify tutoring at Hollywood Elementary, which was a really good presentation where it showed the response of tutoring virtually with these elementary students and the extra help that they needed and seemed to be achieving with this Amplify tutoring system. And I will be we also had a meeting with the new owner of the Apple Tree Daycare Center, which went really well. Jacob and I met with the owner there. He is more than willing to help out the city and any improvements that could be made to the Hollywood commercial district. Yeah. So he's totally on board with all our efforts, which is great news. And I'll be attending data center meetings about digital sacrifice and data centers. I got too much to continue to mention everything here. But yes, I'm working very hard behind the scenes for you.
I know. Thank you for your involvement and engagement. Let's go to a student liaison. Is that the last time, second to last, right?
Right. Yeah, nothing more new than we shared, but yeah, we're going to continue to set up meetings with the new liaison team and discuss how we can assist them with their process. So,
thank you. So we are planning to do a send-off on the May 19th meeting, so be prepared.
Oh
my goodness.
That's our final one, right? Like our final meeting?
Oh, final meeting, yes.
Okay, good. Just want to clarify.
Okay. Is that graduation day?
Yeah, we're not. We're juniors. So
oh, you're juniors.
We still got another year.
Okay. Thank you. Bujma?
Pass.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Young.
We've got plenty more work for them, even after they leave, but nothing further.
Thank you. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
There we go.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? Let's adjourn. Good night, College Park.